current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN690 and ESPN690.com.
Well, turn that jet around and head to a different city. That's what they're saying, basically, in Major League Baseball. Making some changes on the fly, and they're going to have to be flexible. We'll see how this week works. Got a little bit of everything. We had a fun opening weekend. Then we have COVID-19 testing. Then we have cancellation of game or postponement of games on Monday and Tuesday down in Miami. Now we have even further a new mix. Marlins will not play until next Monday at the earliest. Phillies will not play until the weekend. And they were supposed to play the Yankees yesterday, today, tomorrow, and Thursday. Well, because the Orioles and the Yankees are now available, they're going to play instead tomorrow and Thursday. And the Nationals, who voted to say, no, we don't want to go to Miami, will be off this weekend.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. If you take the first, how about for the Yankees alone, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, that's 6 days they've played 3 games. That's very unusual in baseball. Right? I mean, unless you just have rain out, and an off day somewhere mixed in there. So that already, and baseball is kind of that rhythm sport in a way. Like you can get carried away with it. By game 130, everybody's tired of flying and tired in general, and you're playing through bumps and bruises, and you don't feel good. But in this kind of sprint, it is a rhythm thing, especially from a hitting standpoint. It's hard to go a few days without hitting. Not to say they're not hitting, but I mean live pitching. So pretty interesting in that respect, what's going on. But that's some of the new information coming in Major League Baseball. You know what? I think it's pretty good. If you're going to try this stuff, you better be flexible.
Yeah.
And they're changing things on the fly. I'm sure the players, because let's be honest, players get mad about everything. And, everybody's going to their first reaction will be complain. But they have to be adaptable. I'm sure that was part of this agreement. Say, hey, this kind of stuff might happen.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the players right now that are in Major League Baseball, for the most part, they seem to be in it for the long haul, right? There's a reason why they're playing right now. They had a chance not to play, and they chose to. So I think props to Major League Baseball right now to try doing everything in their power to make sure the season stays intact. Obviously, you face some adversity so early on with the Marlins and everything like that, but they're doing their best to try to keep the season and try to keep a little sense of normalcy, I guess you would say, in such a panicked and just non-normal baseball season.
Yeah, it's anything but. So they're making some adjustments on the fly. We'll keep you posted on the Major League Baseball side of things. A couple good games. By the way, you stayed up late last night for the Brewers comeback.
12:30 with much to the chagrin of my wife, who was trying to sleep in bed, and I'm watching on my cell phone. Yeah, but it went to extra innings. Fantastic game. Brewers are now 2-2, so I'm not panicking yet.
Yeah, they were down 5-1 in the ninth.
They were in the ninth, exactly.
Thank goodness for the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Thank gosh for Ryan Braun, man. The Hebrew Hammer comes through again. He had 2 strikes on him, goes down, brings out the 9-iron, gets a nice hit. And by the way, Christian Yelich, 1 hit. I think he's like 1 for 16, 1 for 17.
There are some big-time studs that are struggling.
Yeah.
Chris Bryant, one of them, he's hitting like 0.59.
Yeah.
I think Acuna even got off to a slow start. I don't know what he did last night. But, some of the stars have struggled in the outset of the season. I mean, obviously, it's a long way to go, but no doubt Yelich is one of them as well. By the way, that wasn't the only close game. Chicago was way up on Cincinnati. The Reds almost came back and won that game. I don't know if you saw that while you were watching the Brewers. But
I did.
I'll tell you, I said it yesterday, and I'd love to know the analytics. And I understand, like, we live in a different baseball world and what's acceptable and what's not, and kind of like, hey, that's all right, whatever. And I say this not on a soapbox front. I say it in all seriousness. Like, it's okay to strike out. Like, striking out is like highly acceptable as long as, in the next 10 at-bats you hit 1 out.
Correct.
It's kind of like, it just is. That's the way it is from the analytic point of view. What I don't understand, because I don't see these stats enough maybe, or I haven't looked them up enough, I'd love to know through the first 4 or 5 days of the baseball season what the rate is with a guy, like in situational hitting, with like guy on third, less than 2 outs. Because in that game and in the Reds game, just in that 9th and 10th or 11th innings, I counted 3 different situations where less than 2 outs, a guy on third, they couldn't get the job done. Sure. And they would have won the baseball game. I mean, those are 1-run or tied games or they would have at least been still playing and tied the game back up. So I don't know if that's just kind of something I've noticed in the first week of the season, or if that's part of kind of this new age baseball. Because part of the new age baseball is guys can't run the bases anymore. They're terrible base runners.
Sure.
Like that is true. They're big, they're strong, but a lot of them lack the knowledge of the game, and the instincts of the game for whatever reason. It's just part of it. I mean, ask any analyst and big league that say base running's brutal in Major League Baseball. We saw a couple examples of that this weekend. And so my argument always is, hey, that's fine, the home run, the doubles, the triples. I get it. I get all that stuff. I get the analytics part of that. And I always joke with guys about bunting on Twitter. But, I mean, I get the thinking behind it. But I don't understand it why you sacrifice situational play in baseball. Situational play in baseball wins you ball games. I think the Red Sox won the World Series in 2000, was it 17, 18, 17?
17.
Because they could situationally hit.
Sure.
They could move runners in necessary times. They could also hit it out of the park. They could do both. And so I just wonder, I got to look up some of those numbers, but it doesn't look like it's off to a good start. And your game had one or two of the examples of it. And I know the Reds game, I went back and looked at the play-by-play. They had some other examples. And with that extra inning rule with the Texas tiebreaker, starting on second base, it becomes even more critical.
Oh, without a doubt, man. It's all about, trying to advance those runners. When you win your next innings, you have a guy on second starting out, man. There's a lot of different ways you can go about that.
Absolutely. All right, so a little baseball talk. We'll keep you posted on that. What about football? The Jags report today, and this isn't like a normal report day. We've been saying that for a week and a half. We know it's different. Essentially, we were told by the Jags, we had a big meeting with the media today with the Jags PR folks, kind of about how things are going to go. And we have it in writing a little bit, too, and what it's going to look like. And I don't think there's any major surprises. They're working through a lot of different hurdles. But I told you this for the last week, and I think it was pretty much confirmed today. Circle August 12th on your calendar, because that will be a little bit more of a feel of camp. Now, it won't be a complete feel of camp, because I think even those guys said, it's more like an OTA, that 12, 13, 14, 15, but then starts ramping up toward what we think will be a normal kind of camp feel and practice. So it's all about COVID-19 testing. It's a little bit about that COVID-19 reserve list that we told you about yesterday during the show in the final hour, and a few Jags were on that. It's all about passing your physicals, getting in condition, and slowly ramping up. And right now, all across the NFL, it's all about who's going to opt out. Correct. Because you have less than a week to figure that out. And we're starting to see some dominoes fall, especially with the New England Patriots, some bigger name players. I don't think we've had the blockbuster kind of name, would you say?
I mean, to me, Dante Hightower is a pretty big blockbuster.
Pretty big.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, and he was, so when we talked about this yesterday, I mean, I even brought up, this could snowball if a bigger name player comes out and all of a sudden it could have a trickle-down effect. And this morning, Dante Hightower says that he's not going to play. Keep in mind, Dante Hightower, he's a two-time Pro Bowler, was a Pro Bowler last year.
Yeah, fair enough.
Was really that anchor in that, historic Patriots defense last year. He said he's not going to play this up-and-coming season. And once that came out, once that hit the airwaves and hit the social media waves, well, then you started to see a lot more players come out, especially from the Patriots, obviously, but numerous teams saying that, I'm not going to play anymore. So I'm not sure if he was really the spark that started everything. I'm not sure if these decisions were made up in the players' minds already. But obviously, you have to look at Hightower and say, well, man, this guy's pretty legit. If he's sitting out, I can sit out too.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. What goes into that? Why would you opt out? Guys have different reasons to opt out. Is it smart to opt out? How could it change the dynamics of football teams? And how much will it be I wouldn't say peer pressure thing, but more of a peer conversation thing where, hey, you got guys talking to each other, be like, hey, here's why I'm doing it. This makes sense. And another guy might be like, well, you know what? That does make a lot of sense. I got to look at my own stuff here. I just automatically thought I'd go play football, but wait a minute. Now, and how much of it has to do with what we're seeing maybe in MLB? When you talk about school, I think there's some people that a lot of people are going back to school, right? A lot of the kids. And for a lot of different reasons, but they're going back to school. Then there are some people that are like, yeah, I'm not really sure why go back right this moment because I think they're going to be back home anyway. So would players in the NFL say, hey, look what MLB just did.
Sure.
We're going to go in there, and then we're going to get something's going to happen, and it's not going to be normal anyway. Why am I going to do this?
Well, and let me ask you this as well. So we know that if the season gets shut down for the NFL, the players don't get their contracts, right? Like I think I forgot what the exact phrasing was, but it's like no play, no pay, something like that. And we don't really know exactly in terms of do you get your acquired year or not to go towards your pension. Those are kind of still formalities I'm not sure of. But let me ask you this. So, for instance, Hightower said he's not playing this year. That's what, $300,000 in his pocket now?
Yeah.
Right? Because is he guaranteed that money as soon as he walks away?
I'm pretty sure you are. That's what it sounds like. That's what it reads like.
So at
and
one
then the
point,
other guys are $150,000.
Correct.
So there's two different levels.
No, keep it in mind. I mean, Dante Hightower's been in the NFL since 2012, all right? So as far as his paychecks, they're pretty juicy looking during the regular season. And I'm not saying this is the reason why he chose to sit out, because I doubt it. He said he's had a new baby, doesn't want to take the risk of getting that baby sick. Understandable, man. Family comes first. Good for you. But I'm just saying, I wonder if there's some players out there right now who are looking at the future like MLB baseball and saying, man, this season, it's not looking good. Let me go ahead and collect that paycheck right now. Let me go ahead and get my $150,000. Let me go ahead and get my $300,000 and just say I'm going to opt out this year, save another year of my contract, and also get a little extra money as opposed to playing out the season, taking the risk where if it does not go through, I'm not getting paid at all.
Yeah, it's interesting thought. I would just say a lot, and I know not all, but a lot of you play you get 2 game checks, and you're beyond that. Even at a lower level almost.
Well, keep in mind,
you gotta be bare minimum, basically.
Yeah, so let's say like a traditional salary of a rookie, let's just say, it's probably what, $400,000 now?
It's like $480 now.
Yeah,
I think
and go ahead
and
and take some of that toward taxes depending where you play. So I mean, you realistically probably make around $300,000. Let's say maybe a little less than that. Well, you can make $300,000, or you can make $150,000 guaranteed.
Yeah,
you know.
I don't know if it's enough money to, especially as a young guy where you're trying to make it, and this might be more opportunity, might be worth the roll of the dice in that sense. But that's what I want to talk about. I mean, what goes into it? A lot of different things. I mean, we just mentioned a few of them that certainly go into that. Patrick Mahomes owns a little piece of the Kansas City Royals. Hey, you got to do something with that money.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you spend all that money? Yeah. Now he buys a little bit of the Royals as well, and really puts himself square as a KC legend for forever. Right? I mean, has a young guy ever done that so quickly? You know, say, hey, I'm Kansas City and I'm Kansas City forever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically what the feel is on Patrick Mahomes. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. We'll give you the latest up-to-date information on what's going on with Major League Baseball. We'll keep our eye on college football, though don't expect too much for the next couple of days probably. And the NFL at work, back to camp. What will it look like? A little bit more information on that today as well. When we come back, though, would you opt out? Does it make sense to opt out? And how much are the Patriots getting hammered by the opt-outs? Is my bet looking better is what I'm getting at. Maybe.
I'm not that nervous quite yet.
Action Sports Jags on ESPN690. You're always invited to join the conversation on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You can see the show there. Twitch as well. And you can call in 904-362-9901 *690. We'll be back on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the first alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Partly cloudy today with midday and afternoon showers and storms developing heavy in spots with highs in the low 90s, dropping into the low to mid 70s tonight. Join me beginning at 5 p.m. for CBS 47 and Fox 30 Action News Jax from the First Alert Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where for a limited time, you can get 5 years, 0 interest financing. The summer shower of savings continue. Right now at Beards Diamonds, get 5 years, 0 interest, plus no money down on any purchase.
This is the best deal of the summer.
Take advantage of Beards' lowest prices in North Florida on diamonds.
How about a $6,000 Tacori or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month. Or a pair of diamond studs for $3,000? You pay just $50 a month.
Come in, see the difference, save thousands.
Beards Diamonds, located at the St. John's Town Center.
This message is sponsored by the Florida A&M University Medical Marijuana Education and Research Initiative, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
Where I'm from, marijuana is legal. Can I use it in Florida? Nah, it's illegal here, man. But I have PTSD. Should I at least try to get medical marijuana? That's legal. But if I were you, I'd talk to my doctor about qualifying conditions and to find out if medical marijuana is even right for you.
Thanks. I'll talk to my doctor.
WFOX Fox 30 has been removed from the service of Dish Network after the satellite provider refused to agree to a fair deal for a new retransmission consent agreement with Cox Media Group. If you're affected by this decision to deprive you of important local news and programming during these critical times, make your voice heard. Call Dish today at 1-800-333-3474. That's 1-800-333-3474 and demand that they put Fox 30 back on Dish.
Mortgage rates are at historic all-time lows. There's no better time. Duval! Purchase your first home or refinance with Crossview Mortgage. At Crossview, they have a proven track record with VA loans and helping people even when the big banks can't. Get pre-qualified. Do your application by phone in minutes. Let them help you save thousands. Call Crossview Mortgage, 325-9008. That's 325-9008. CrossviewMortgage.com. NMLS number 1377291.
They're breaking all the rules at Diamonds Direct with an unprecedented store-wide sale going on now. Save 20% and more on an expanded selection. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, including trunk loads of all new designer pieces flown in from around the world. But hurry, this first time ever 11-day sale ends this Sunday. In-store, online, and virtual. All options open. All merchandise included. Even thousands of engagement rings on sale. An extraordinary sale for an extraordinary time. 20% savings now through Sunday only. Only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and school just isn't for you, earn while you learn by enrolling in the Clara White Mission Workforce Training, designed for 16 to 24-year-olds and no experience necessary. National certifications include culinary arts, OSHA, HAZWOPER, forklifting, environmental training, and more. These programs are customized for low income and disadvantaged. Make your way to the Clara White Mission Training Center at 613 West Ashley Street. Call 904-354-4162 or visit clarawhitemission.org.
If you have a specific medical problem, you call a specialist. Broken leg? Call an orthopedist. Cataracts? Call an ophthalmologist. At Prime Men's Medical Center, our doctors specialize in ED and PE. Listen to Dr. Rubinski, a renowned expert in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinski. If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications to help you last longer in the bedroom, regardless of age or past medical history, with no pain or surgery. In fact, you'll see results in the office guaranteed or your exam is free. Patients are now lasting for 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And best of all, treatments are affordable.
Men. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, call Prime Men's Medical Center for a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians. Call 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105.
It happens to all of us. That AC unit just starts making some noise, or even worse, it's not working anymore. This is the time of year you don't want that to happen. It's way too hot around here. My friends at Bold City Heating and Air will help. They helped us. It started with a call from my wife, and she said the AC wasn't working. So we jumped on boldcityac.com, and before we knew it, they were at the door. Super friendly customer service, clean, timely, and personal service call. And now we're loyal to Bold City Heating and Air. They took care of my family. They'll take care of your family. It's a big investment in AC unit, but a necessary one. Mirrors at Bold City Heating and Air has built a strong culture, and as a customer, you can feel it. We felt it. The easiest way to start the relationship with an AC company you can trust is to go to boldcityac.com. Have Bold City Heating and Air check out your AC. Right now, it's $25 off and annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it's working efficiently. Good peace of mind at the very least. Visit boldcityac.com. Be bold and beat the heat at boldcityac.com.
If you're usually listening to ESPN 690 in your car, but your boss has you working from home this week, well, take us with you. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN 690 and Action Sports Jax. Tell Amazon Echo or Google Home, play ESPN 690, and enjoy all that sweet listening coverage.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Yes, we have not had anybody right now opt out as far as we know, but we'll wait and see. I know that the league and the NFLPA is still going through some particulars on how that's going to work and the date. So we're just going to wait and see, but we have not heard any rumblings of any of our guys quite yet.
That is Jaguars general manager Dave Caldwell on Brian Kilmeade's show. Once again, I think that's twice in 2 weeks or twice in the last few weeks.
I think it's like the third time.
Is it? Yeah.
Did he do it once when I was on vacation last week?
Maybe I was just missed.
Okay,
my timing might have been off, so it might have just been two. But over on 104.5 WOKV, I think they are friends or know each other or something like from the maybe even. Is it possible from the Atlanta days? I guess that's possible. But Kilmeade lives in the area, right?
He comes down here a lot, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was on WOKV 104.5. And Jags GM Dave Caldwell has been on there a couple times now in the last few weeks. His thoughts on the opt-out. And nothing yet for the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is good, I would think, from a football standpoint. If you're in the building, if you're Doug Marrone, if you're Dave Caldwell, that is good. Good news. Brent Martineau, Austin Lane, Coos here on a Tuesday. Hope you're doing well. Opt-out is going to be one of the phrases of the football season in 2020. We saw it a little bit in Major League Baseball. Guys like David Price, guys like Buster Posey, those big names and others that opted out and didn't play. I think people are all right with that, too. I don't see a lot of criticism from guys that are opting out. I really don't. And, you never know with fans these days how they treat it. But there's been zero criticism from anybody involved in any kind of organizations that I've seen for guys that have opted out. Well, the Patriots have now had a few guys opt out, including Hightower, talented linebacker, Pro Bowl linebacker. And people will opt out for various reasons. The Jaguars might be in a pretty good situation here because they are so young. Might be the benefit of a young football team. Because, and the reason I say that, and does this make sense to you? I mean, my reasoning is, one, if you're young, you haven't made as much money as you could make in the game. Two, you see opportunity in front of you as a young football player, and you want to go pounce on it. Now, every rookie in the NFL, but I'm even talking second, third-year guy. It might be a big year for you. Heck, look how many Jags players are on final year of their contract. Big year for those guys. It might be worth the risk instead of opting out, even if they feel like, you know what? If this was 4 years down the road, I might do it. So that's my point. Does that make some sense from a logic standpoint that the Jags might be better positioned because of their youth to not have as many guys opt out?
No, without a doubt. I mean, I think youth does a couple things. I think youth gives you the opportunities that you probably aren't married and have a big family.
Good point.
So with that being said, you're not worried about even maybe getting like a newborn baby sick, your wife sick, or maybe you live with your parent, or maybe your parents are in town, whatever the reason is. But you're not afraid of really getting anybody in your circle sick because your circle is pretty small your first and second year. So there's that. But I also think, yes, there is the intrigue of you're new to the team. You also want to make a good first impression. And it's all about opportunity. Keep in mind, and I'm not going against any player for opting out. I think that's great. If they feel comfortable doing it, more power to them. But unless you are like a Dante Hightower, unless you are like a former Pro Bowler, a lot of these guys that are opting out, they're kind of putting themselves back a little bit just from the standpoint of when they come back, their jobs probably aren't going to be locked in. Their jobs aren't going to be certain because it is a cutthroat league, and every single year teams go younger and they go cheaper. So when you have vets like this sitting out and maybe wasting a whole year, not I would say wasting a whole year, but sitting out and missing a whole year and then expected to come back, not everyone's Adrian Peterson. Not everyone's that freaking nature. Sometimes you have to shake the rust off and things like that. And if you can't shake the rust off, well, they're going to find a new player to replace you. So, people are taking risks to be fair. And once again, I'm not going against anyone that's opting out. I think it's fantastic. But there is a risk at hand where when you come back that next year, will your starting spot still be there?
Well, here's some of the guys that have opted out in these last couple of days, even today. Marquise Goodwin, wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles. Michael Pierce, defensive tackle, Minnesota Vikings. By the way, 3-year, $27 million signing for the Minnesota Vikings. Now they'll have a hole in the middle of that defense. Star Latulele also opting out, according to this tracker here. We've got an ESPN690 tracker.
I like that.
On the opt-outs.
Yeah. Is it called like the opt-out for Trevor tracker?
Yeah. hey, we will pay you more if you opt out. I don't think so. Latulele signed a 5-year, $50 million deal with the Bills back in 2018. He is opting out. Eddie Goldman, defensive tackle, former Florida State Seminole with the Chicago Bears. Anthony McKinney, offensive tackle, Tennessee. Patrick Chung, Patriots. Cole Wick, tight end, the Saints. Let's see, who else we got? Anybody of big? Andre Smith's interesting with the Ravens. Former first-round draft pick, the Bengals. Yep. So it hurts the Ravens team from a depth perspective more so. They're looking to make a big run. Hightower, of course, is really the name right now. But the Patriots also had Brandon Bolden, a running back, opt out. Marcus Cannon, an offensive tackle, yesterday opt out. Fullback opt out. Center guard opt out. Why New England?
Well, and listen, here
without the conspiracy theory of tank for Trevor,
right? With Bill Belichick. I mean, why New England? And this is me being conspiracy theorist Austin right now, possibly. But when you think of New England, Brent, you think of, you think of the old school, right? And you think of done a certain way, and if you don't meet the expectations, you're gone. I'm not sure how New England's handling this whole COVID-19 thing. I have no idea. One would think it's probably like the other teams in the NFL. But if one team was going to be a little more, maybe cachet, just a little more free-wielding with how they're going about this COVID-19 thing, where if you were going to cheat or maybe pull some strings, you think the Patriots would do it? Well, maybe some players kind of saw through that and be like, you know what, I don't want to be a part of it this year. I want things cool down a little bit. I'll be back next year. Just saying.
Yeah, well, listen, I think players talk. And so is this totally individualized and it just happenstance that 6 of them or 7 of them now for the New England Patriots? Or is it a bunch of guys that talk? Jason McCourty, I think it was, expressed concern. Same thing. Just watching Twitter and where guys were working out, he expressed some concern. So maybe it's something about the Patriots organization. Maybe there are more players that weren't on board with everything that came together out of the NFLPA. Maybe their NFLPA representative was against a lot of this, and that was feedback from the locker room. So there's a lot of different ways to take it. Go ahead.
How would you feel if you were Cam Newton, though?
Yeah.
Essentially it feels like maybe it's the wrong word, but it feels like guys are jumping ship.
Yeah, it does a little bit. I think just because of the number of them compared to other teams right now. I don't think you can look at it that way. And I also think if you look at these guys, now maybe there are more, I don't know the Patriots roster in and out. I don't know how these guys are supposed to be used. But Hightower right now is the one that catches your attention. Now, Patrick Chung has been a really good player for them over the years.
Bolden, Bolden was used sparingly. I mean, he's one of 25 running backs that the Patriots use. So.
I think if they took his starting center and 2 receivers away, then I think he might be like, can I opt out?
Yeah. I think if Julian Edelman decided that, I'm going to sit out this year, then he's like, well, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? But right now, once again, more guys come out by the minute, so I think there'll be some more guys opting out even as the show goes on here. If you're Cam Newton, it's kind of like, I don't know what he's going through, but I think he understands. I think everybody understands.
I think so too. Yeah. I think Cam's probably just happy at this point
to have a starting job.
Have probably a starting job
against Stidham.
All right, seriously though, what does it do to the Patriots? They were probably going to use some of these guys and had at least a role for some of these guys. And again, Hightower, they already have plenty of question marks. Patriots. Remember, Brady was the first to opt out of New England. That happened in free agency though. So, does it change the dynamic of the football team seeing this today?
It has to, right? Because you have a couple stars, especially on defense, that are going to be gone now. And when those guys are gone, someone has to step up and replace them. So there is going to be that process, and especially in a time right now where you don't have that much time to groom somebody else to take over a Pro Bowler like Hightower spot. You don't have time to really groom somebody else to take over like a vocal leader like Patrick Chung. So with that being said, there's a lot of things counting against the New England Patriots right now. And I would say, if it wasn't for Cam Newton, one would think, well, yeah, the Patriots are definitely tanking. Like, this is all part of Belichick's master plan here to get Trevor Lawrence next year. I'm not saying that. I still don't think they're going to win the division. I think the Buffalo Bills are probably going to have that wrapped up, but I still think they're going to be competitive. I can see 8, 9, I don't want to say 10 wins, probably 8 or 9 wins, maybe a playoff spot, maybe a wild card spot. But it's going to be harder now, obviously, because anytime you replace two solid guys on defense, especially such a talented defense, that comes with, time.
Yeah, and so we've kind of started this conversation. So that's the Patriots. And by the way, the Patriots have a lot of veterans, right? Usually do. The Jags don't. And so we talked about, like, opting out as a young player for the Jags might not make as much sense. But what about some of the veterans that they do have? Could you see anybody doing it? Listen, Joe Schobert, who they just signed, has a new baby at home.
Yeah.
Babies, a new baby and new family do seem to be an underlying trend here. From Buster Posey to Hightower to others. That has been one of the significant reasons why a player will opt out. So, one, the Jags don't have a ton of veterans. Two, would there be any likely candidates? And I will say this, everything I've heard so far, there's not even a talk of anybody opting out when I checked in there in these last couple of days. But that doesn't mean nobody will. They still have a few days to think this over and see what they want to do. But right now, nobody's opted out for the Jags. I would look at the veterans and say, okay, who could? I mean, could an Andrew Norwell? Could a Linder type? Could Schobert? Could you get to even a guy in the back end who's actually been more, maybe from a playing game experience, he's not, doesn't feel like a veteran. But back there in the safety spot, looking, Jared Wilson.
I mean, you could see Avery Jones. You could see a couple guys. But see, and this is where my mind goes right away when we talk about, Jaguars players opting out. In terms of any team to opt out right now, the Jaguars are probably the most less than ideal team to opt out with. And the reason I say that is because the coaching scenario, it's up in the air right now. Now, I get it. COVID-19, maybe it's going to use an excuse to give Doug Marrone and Dave Caldwell another year, regardless of how the Jaguars do this up-and-coming season. But for a minute, let's just assume here that the Jaguars win maybe 5 or 6 games, okay? And let's say Shad Khan doesn't like it, and he decides to get rid of Doug Marrone and Dave Caldwell, which could be very possible. With that being said, if you were to bring a new regime in and everything like that, if you're one of those veteran players that chose to sit out, your job is probably as good as gone, right? Because now you have zero film to go off of last year. You missed a year, and now the new leadership that's coming in, well, they're going to go on without you, more than likely. Yeah, no, maybe they go back 2 years and check out your film, but more than likely, they go on without you. So to me, from a business move, and once again, I don't want to get it contrived here that I'm saying business over family, not at all. But I'm just saying where if you're a Jaguars player right now and you choose to sit out, it is pretty risky just because if that coaching staff and that regime is gone after this season, you're kind of behind the 8 ball a little bit.
How much do you think you can make up in all of this? I guess we'll have to wait and see until August 1st rolls around and kind of who opted out. But how much can the dynamic of a football team change in the next few days? Because you had free agency, you had draft, you had all these things. Well, now you can't just go replace Hightower in New England. You can go get a body because some people are going to probably get released and cut, and when and you already have enough people on your roster. But you get my point. You can't go get somebody you really think will replace him and make an impact the way he would have. So teams could change. I mean, if somebody big opts out, or if several, I hate to say one in the NFL unless it's a quarterback, because guys get hurt all the time in the NFL. And so people lose good players. Teams lose good players every year, usually due to injury. Now, the quarterback goes, that's a huge deal. Would we see a quarterback opt out? I think it's highly unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question. Would you see a starting quarterback opt out, man? And, I mean, listen, I don't know in terms of, having babies and family situations. I don't know what every single quarterback situation is right now. But we talk about double standards all the time with the most important spot in football and probably in all professional sports, the quarterback position. Well, once again, it's almost a double standard to that point. Because, listen, Hightower left, captain, obviously, middle linebacker, general of the defense. I don't think a lot of those guys in the locker room right now for the Patriots are like, well, he quit on us. Like, he turned his back on us. Like, what the heck? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, obviously, they're probably a little taken back, and there's probably a little shock factor because he's such a great player. But, like, I don't think they resent him for it. But you talk about double standard real quick. If a quarterback was all of a sudden right before the season starts go, you know what? I'm going to opt out, guys. I'm not playing. Well, now you essentially, the most important role, the field general abandons his players. There could be some resentment there. And as aggressive as it sounds, you might talk about getting blackballed from the league.
Yeah.
I mean,
it would be really interesting to see.
Depending on a family situation, though.
Yeah, that could really change. Of course, you got to remember, quarterback money is such big money. That's a lot of money to also sit out. Again, I mean, the money comes into it. The whole decision making is risk versus reward, and part of the reward is dollars.
Yeah.
And at a big rate, usually at the quarterback position in the NFL. All right, your situation right now, you're still playing in the league.
Okay.
Family at home. Hot spots of Florida with COVID-19.
Block is hot right now, Brent.
Have you given any thought what you would do if you were still playing with the option to opt out? By this time, remember now, you've played in the league.
Yeah.
Shoot, this would be what, like year 10 or something.
Oh, man. These knees would be so sore. Back acting up nonstop.
So you got plenty of money. You've been in there for a decade. Money's not a factor.
Money's not the
You've
motive,
already got
is it?
your accrued everything.
Oh, yeah. Money's not the motive here. So you're saying where I'm at right now.
If you
with
were
my
still
5-year-old,
playing. Yeah.
my wife. Well, okay, so here's how I would approach it if I'm a football player. Number one, I would ask, all right, so what's my family situation? Okay, well, I have a wife and I have a 5-year-old. Okay, noted. Number two, am I at risk of getting anybody sick, whether it's family members or friends that maybe have some kind of immune disease? One of my really good friends that I've hung out with, obviously I haven't hung out with him in a while, but he has an autoimmune disease. So we haven't hung out, obviously, because I don't want to get him sick. So I take that into account. I take, in-laws, things like that. Like, are they going to be around? I take those things into account. After I calculate all that, and obviously I would weigh the pros and the cons, and I talk to my family about it, and even my son, my 5-year-old son, I think that I would play. I honestly do, because as long as I can live with myself knowing that, you know what, I'm not going to put anybody else in danger. Now, I know you can say, well, you can put your son in danger. You can put your wife in danger. Yeah, I understand that. And my wife, she's going to school for the medical field right now. My son is 5 years old, and he's healthy as a horse, let's just say. So there's always going to be a risk. But I think that in terms of me, and not necessarily just the money, but just the love of playing the game, I would still probably have to do it. For instance, let me put it to you like this. Hopefully I have a fight coming up here in September. Okay? I'm training right now to hopefully have a fight, and hopefully we get to announce it in the next couple of days or so. I'm doing that because I've outweighed the pros and the cons. Now, obviously, in terms of, fighting, it's a little different because, our gym only has like 5 or 6 people at a pop. It's not an NFL locker room where there's 80, 90 people, 100 people for training camp. So that's different. But I think I would still have the same mindset where as long as I know deep down in my heart that I'm not putting anybody in risk, then I'm okay.
I think what's really interesting here is we've seen guys retire early, if you will, in recent years in the NFL. I think how much of this comes into play for anybody, again, everybody's family situation is different, but how much of it seriously comes into play, kind of like what we were talking about with Kuz the other day, is like, what if you had to come in here and take the swab test every day and multiple times and just all the different things? You're used to football one way. You love playing the game. You love being around the guys, camaraderie. How much do people say that? Well, we miss that. Well, there's going to be less of that. At least I know they're going to be around each other, but they're trying to avoid some of that stuff. How much of it is just a giant pain in the you-know-what? And does it make some players question how much they do love the game to this level still? I think it does. It could be a reality check for some. It could be like, what am I doing? Like, there's a part of me that I would say, hey, I want to kind of go through this experience and say I played during the pandemic in a way, right? I mean, it's almost, seriously, there would be a part of me that would say, I'd like to kind of experience how different this is, how we work through this, how much does it make our team better, how much could it galvanize us, all those things that are so different about 2020. I almost want to see it. I want to participate in it. There's a part of me like that. But I also, if I was 10 years in the league, my bank account looks good, family at home, I just didn't have to go to the OTAs and everything else in April and May and June. How much did I get used to that? How much do I now have to say, man, this is dumb. I mean, I'm probably going to be coming back anyway. They're never gonna make it through the year. And do I even love it this much anymore to go through all this? I wonder how many guys are asking. And again, I'm talking about 10-year vets, 11-year vets, 12-year vets, that kind of category that might be asking themselves that question.
Yeah, and for sure. And it's hard for me to answer that question wholeheartedly just because, I mean, we see the reports, we see the protocols that are put in place, but we're not in that locker room. You know, like you don't really know the vibe that's going on right now. But to kind of prove your point a little bit, and we've had a bunch of players on this show before, Brent, and when we always ask them, like, what do you miss most? What do they say? It's the locker room. It's the camaraderie. It's the brotherhood. You know, it's laughing with the guys. Well, and once again, I don't know what it's like right now in those locker rooms, but, you know, with some of these protocols, you got to stay 6 feet apart in the locker room, all this stuff. Like, to me, when you put these protocols in place, not saying they're right or they're wrong, I'm just saying when they're in place, well, yeah, then you kill some of that love. You kill some of that. Just, you know, it's almost like you feel like a kid. It's like you're going to school, seeing your friends. Like, that kind of crushes some of that spirit, and it crushes some of that passion, just because now it just feels like it feels different. It just doesn't feel normal. Now, don't get it twisted. Nothing in this country right now, nothing in this world really feels normal with COVID-19. But I'm just saying right now, in terms of a lot of guys still play the game of football, especially when you're a 10-year vet. They don't need the money. They play because they love the game. Yeah. And if you put these protocols in that start to affect the love of the game, well, then guess what? Then maybe some guys choose to walk away. And for that, I'm never going to blame them.
I wouldn't be surprised if some people go through this. And in that situation, it's probably not a big group.
Yeah.
That Labor Day comes around and be like, I'm out.
Yeah. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah. I'm not doing it. And if you're that player with 10 years under your belt, a lot of dollars in your bank account, you can do it.
Sure.
Now, it's a wrestling match because you feel like, am I letting my team down telling them this late? But it's just the reality of the situation. I don't even think you can hold that guy if he says, I'm just uncomfortable in here. But this isn't working what I thought. This isn't what I thought it was going to be. And it ain't getting any better.
Listen, a lot of players in the locker room, even when I played up until now, they're going to tell you, like, I can't believe my job is to play football every single day. It doesn't feel like a job. When you start making it feel like more like a job, regardless of the income, especially, keep in mind, if you're a 10-year vet and you've made your money already, when you start feeling like you have to go to a job every single day and that passion goes away, that's going to happen to me in Chicago, then you walk away.
Yeah, then you want to walk away and get out of there. Yep. What does it look like inside a building? What are the players going through? I tell you, it's different. We've got a few details on it. We'll share some of that on the way. Action Sports Jax on ESPN690. Thanks for hanging out here on a Tuesday. Would you opt out if you were a player? You can join that conversation on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, or right here, star 690.
Golic Wingo.
That's your first mistake, is leaving read receipts on. Don't do that to yourself. Friends out there, reach out to the screen and receive this blessing right now. Turn your read receipts off and vice versa. You don't need that mental warfare in your life.
Where are read receipts?
I'm going to do the Men in Black thing right now. We're just going to completely erase what just happened there from your thought process. Read receipts aren't a real thing to you. Okay. And that goes for everyone listening. Cool. Remove it from your life.
Golic and Wingo, weekdays at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN2.
Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233. Celebrate your love with end of summer savings now at Beard's Diamonds.
Right now at Beard, take advantage of 5 years zero-interest financing.
Yes, 5 years, zero interest financing with zero down. Take advantage of Beard's already lowest prices in town. But now, spread your payments out over 60 months.
How about a $6,000 Tacori or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month.
Or a pair of diamond studs for $1,500, you pay just $25 a month. It's the best deal of the summer. Get her that piece of jewelry she's been dreaming about and spread your payments out over 60 months. But it's only for a limited time and only at Beard's Diamonds.
Beard's Diamonds, located at the St. John's Town Center or beardsdiamonds.com.
Come into Beard's Diamonds. See the difference. Save thousands. You don't want just any old sale. You want the biggest sale with the biggest savings ever, right? Then you need to see my friends at Arlington Toyota today, because they're having the one big-time sales event. Want low payments and zero down? Then get to Arlington now, because during the big-time sale, they have over 100 quality pre-owned cars you can buy at zero down and $199 a month. That's no money down and $199 a month for over 100 pre-owned vehicles. How about choosing from 50 quality pre-owned trucks and SUVs that you can buy at zero down and just $269 a month? That's no money down and $269 a month with over 50 pre-owned trucks and SUVs. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everybody approved. You even get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy for total peace of mind. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. What are you waiting for? It's the one big-time sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/big-time sale for full details.
Though no longer little, teens still need a lot of love. Yet teens in foster care have a harder time finding it, as 82% of foster families are home to kids 12 or younger. You can positively impact a teen's life as a foster parent. With help from Family Support Services of North Florida, you provide patience, love, and understanding, and Family Support Services will offer specialized training, resources, and a community of support. Take the next step at foster-now.org. That's foster-now.org.
Mortgage rates are at historic all-time lows. There's no better time. Duval! Purchase your first home or refinance with Crossview Mortgage. At Crossview, they have a proven track record with VA loans and helping people even when the big banks can't. Get pre-qualified. Do your application by phone in minutes. Let them help you save thousands. Call Crossview Mortgage, 325-9008. That's 325-9008. CrossviewMortgage.com. NMLS number 1377291.
They say it should be impossible for bumblebees to fly because their wings are too small for their bodies. But bumblebees don't care. They just fly. Bright Expectations is dedicated to helping our Florida residents with special needs and unique abilities find the resources, support, and inspiration that they and their families need to break barriers and achieve their dreams. Visit www.brightexpectations.com to start your journey today.
This message is sponsored by the Florida Department of Health, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
WFOX Fox 30 has been removed from the service of Dish Network after the satellite provider refused to agree to a fair deal for a new retransmission consent agreement with Cox Media Group. If you're affected by this decision to deprive you of important local news and programming during these critical times, make your voice heard. Call Dish today at 1-800-333-3474. That's 1-800-333-3474 and demand that they put Fox 30 back on Dish.
They're breaking all the rules at Diamonds Direct with an unprecedented store-wide sale going on now. Save 20% and more on an expanded selection. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, including trunk loads of all new designer pieces flown in from around the world. But hurry, this first time ever 11-day sale ends this Sunday. In-store, online, and virtual. All options open. All merchandise included. Even thousands of engagement rings on sale. An extraordinary sale for an extraordinary time. 20% savings now through Sunday only. Only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
First Take, your take.
You see injuries happen every single week that end seasons, potentially end careers, certainly derails dudes for weeks upon weeks at a time. So if there is one sport that has survived by being able to afford losing bodies along the way, it is the National Football League, because it happens to them every single week.
First Take, your take, from 1 to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPN News.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. Smart speakers are becoming part of everyday life, so why not use it to listen to the radio? Tell Alexa, Google Home, or any other speaker to play ESPN690. Give it a shot weekday afternoons from 3 to 6.
Now, back to Action Sports Jacks on ESPN690 and on your smart speaker.
Well, obviously, the protocol of having to wear a mask and social distancing is going to be in effect. Obviously, they're going to be tested regularly before the game and the days leading up to it. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing is that, just a social responsibility for every player to take care of himself and to not put himself at risk or his teammates or his coaches.
That's General Manager Dave Caldwell on today, 104.5 WOKV, the Brian Kilmeade Show, and talking about, the new world in the NFL and what it will be like and what it will look like. And we got a little bit of a glimpse of that today, too. We'll share some of those thoughts in a moment. A couple other things, college football, Florida State trying to replace Cam Akers, who signs on with the Rams today, signed that rookie deal. And one of the guys that could help replace him, well, he's no longer there, dismissed, according to reports, Kalen LeBourne, former five-star guy. So Florida State won't have him in the backfield. He had some issues on the field with injuries and off the field with incidents in his time in Tallahassee, and reportedly has been dismissed from the team. So that will hurt the running back room at Florida State. Before I get to what the Jags it might look like, we got an interesting kind of visual today, and hopefully I can illustrate it to you as well of kind of what it looks like inside the building. Just want to pass that along to you in a couple of minutes. Before we do that, Steven's on the line, Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. What's up, man?
Hey, not much. How about you guys?
Doing well.
Staying casual.
All right. I tried to call in Friday, but I guess you guys forgot about me. I wanted to add on to your little wagers that you made Friday.
What you got?
All right. Given what you saw last year, seeing the effort he's put in this offseason, I think he was rated, 30 for last season? What do you see Gardner Minshew's QB rating to be? Top 25, top 20, or top 15 for this year, and why?
All right, Steven, thanks. Appreciate it. We did some over and unders, like Leonard Fournette, what he would have, and DJ Chark and Minshew touchdowns, interceptions. So you're asking for a QB rating, which I think Minshew's was in the low 90s last year. Does that sound right? 92 point something?
Yeah, I'm going to it right now. So we doing the ESPN one, the QBR?
No, QBR is different.
Okay.
Just rating.
He was 26 overall, the QBR. The rating. Okay, you have to give me some time.
Usually the QBR is a lot lower, but the rating is like, the 108.7 or whatever.
Okay.
It's usually if you're in the 90s, you're doing pretty well.
All right. I'm going to need a little time.
If you're in the 80s, it's pretty average.
Because the ESPN's, they just have like their rating system, I guess, and it's not working. Maybe if you want to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so what do you want me to do? I typed
Just
in.
Look up Gardner Minshew and stats.
I did.
How about that for a start?
I did, and we're right here.
Pro
and it
Football
says
Reference. It will take me 2 seconds to find this.
All right, check it out.
Rating is not there. No. I'm kidding.
Wait.
QBR's not there. Rating is 91.2.
Okay, that's not QB rating though, huh? Or is that's the one we want? Okay, 91.2.
91.2.
So
how long did that take me to find? 7 seconds?
Where did that finish in the NFL? Where that finish in the NFL then? What is that good for?
We don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Wasn't that the whole debate here? Is where did he finish?
Brent's finding stats rating is better than Austin's finding stats ratings.
For sure. But I'm still going to need to know where he finished in terms of the entire NFL, though.
Well, the question is more where will he finish this year?
Sure. Can I find out where he finished last year in terms of 32 quarterbacks so I can make the decision?
Very quickly. That takes 6 more seconds.
All right, let's get it, man.
The highest rated passer was Ryan Tannehill. 16th, Gardner Minshew was.
He finished 16th last year?
Yes. 91.2, right behind Case Keenum, right ahead of Phillip Rivers, right ahead of Tom Brady. Ahead of Tom Brady.
Dang, he finished 16th. So...
And this guy can't get on the all top 100 list for last year? Come on.
Where did Stafford finish?
Stafford finished 6th.
Okay. So do I think he's going to finish higher than the top
By the way,
half?
Kyler Murray, 87.4 in the rating, 21st.
Okay. I'm going to go...
Kyler Murray.
I don't know, man. Go and give me top 10.
Top 10? Well, you didn't have to go that high. You said top 15, top 20, or top 25.
Well, he finished 16th last year. You think he's going to have a better year than last year, right?
I do.
So, top 10 then.
I'm going to say top 15.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't have to say top 10.
Well, there you go, man. I mean, if he finished 16th last year and he has better stats, top 10 it is.
Of course, Kyler Murray is going to lead the league in rating. I mean, that's just Kyler Murray. I mean, he has to lead the league in everything. We'll be back. Action Sports
My head
Jags
hurts
on
so
ESPN
bad with this
690.
rating talk.
I'll show you what I'll describe to you what the inside of the Jags building meeting rooms will look like here over the next few weeks. Next.
Thinking of a new ride? Waiting for a sale? Well, if I got great news for you, because this isn't just any sale. No. This is big. It's the Big One sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota. During the Big One sales event at Arlington, you can get 0% for 60 months on 10 new Toyota models. That's 0% for 60 months on 10 new Toyota models. No one does the Big One deal like that. And at Arlington Toyota right now, they're giving you no payments until 2021 on your new Toyota purchase. That's right. You make 0 payments until 2021 on your new Toyota. And with every new vehicle purchased from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. The Big One sale just keeps getting bigger, and it's happening right now at Arlington Toyota. Shop them in person safely at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Big One sale for full details.
Let's say you have ED, male impotence. Or maybe you suffer from PE and can't satisfy your partner. If you have either or both of these embarrassing conditions, Prime Men's Medical Center has the solution. Meet Dr. Rabinski, a specialist in men's health.
If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications designed just for you. There's no pain and no surgery. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or prostate issues, not a problem. If Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, Prime Men's Medical Center has patients lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. You'll see results on your first visit guaranteed, or your visit is free. And best of all, it's affordable.
For a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians, call 904-206-8105. We guarantee that you'll see results on your first visit, or there's no charge for your consult. Call Prime Men's Medical Center now at 904-206-8105. That's 904-206-8105.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Oil change coming up? We can help you out. Right now, you can get 5 quarts of Pennzoil high mileage motor oil and an STP oil filter for just $27.99. And if you need it fast, we can help you get it fast. Whether it's at home with our next day delivery or in store and curbside with our free same day pickup. The choice is yours. Getting the job done just got easier. Restrictions and details at AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone. It's time for some straight talk. You know what covering your bases is in baseball, right?
Of course, making sure you have no holes in your defense.
Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless, and you'll pay up to 50% less than big carriers and still use their same networks. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G.
And no contract, no mystery fees. Fully covering your bases for 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Savings may vary. Check out terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news. Major League Baseball has postponed all of the Marlins games through Sunday after the team's recent coronavirus outbreak. The Orioles, who were slated to host the Marlins in a 2-game series starting tomorrow, instead will host the Yankees tomorrow and Thursday. This week's Yankees-Phillies home-and-home series has been postponed. After a majority of Nationals players voted not to travel to Miami for this weekend series, those games have also been postponed. Commissioner Rob Manfred told MLB Network last night they think they continue to keep people safe in play, but there's not a whole lot of trust for that at the team level, explains ESPN's Buster Olney.
They talk about more concerns and, having the protocol referred to as Swiss cheese is what I hear. And the fact that there doesn't seem to be uniformity, there seems to be a lack of, complete understanding about what needs to take place.
Buster Ungolick and Wingo. NFL linebacker Dante Hightower, the sixth Patriots player to opt out of this 2020 season. He became a first-time father earlier this month.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio. This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Well, what the league has put forward is we're going to carry some extra practice squad players, and we're just going to make sure that, we're going to have 69 players between the practice squad and the 53 active guys that we can interchangeable on a weekly basis. So we're just going to make sure that everybody's going to have to be ready and all hands on deck.
That's Jags GM Dave Caldwell on the Brian Kilmeade Show. That is on 4.5 WOKV. And interesting note there about the practice squad going up to 16 players. It used to be 7, went up to 10, now it's 16. And so in addition to that 53-man roster, you'll have a roster that's 69 players even after camp. Mm-hmm. So, and I think some of the restrictions on the back half of that 16, the 11 through 16, there are certain restrictions. Some players are available or eligible for the practice squad, and some players aren't, once you've played in the league for a long enough time. Well, I don't think there will be those kind of restrictions on 11 through 16. So I think you can almost put anybody on there, at least the way I understand it. Jaguars have added more people to their reserve COVID-19 list, and it includes second-year right tackle Jawan Taylor. Also includes first-year offensive lineman Ryan Pope. Now, again, we have to go through this together. Take a breath. I think there's a couple of things at work here. When we get these names, we're going to keep getting names on this list across the league, especially here in Jacksonville, because that's who we care about. But I've got to keep saying this, and I apologize to you if you've heard it so many times from me, but I did this on TV last night too. Important to note that it does not mean a player tested positive. They could be in quarantine because they know somebody who had tested positive. Mm-hmm. So that's a distinction the team will not make. The player does not have to make, but the player can share if they want. Josiah Scott came on Twitter last night, the rookie 4th-round pick, and said, hey, I had a negative test when I first came in. Since then, I've tested positive. He called it a false positive test, that first one, and he kind of put a laughing emoji. He's like, it's all good.
Yeah.
So it's up to the player if they want to do that. In this agreement between the NFL and the NFLPA, they basically said, we don't want the Ezekiel Elliott situation. If Ezekiel Elliott wants to come out and tell people that he tested positive, that's fine. But we don't want the agent, the team, reports, all this stuff of it. So we'll see if Jawan Taylor clarifies it. Doesn't have to. But he's on this list. And now what happens is you go into the testing and the protocols, and you have to take a couple more, and you now have to test negative a couple of times to be able to continue on like everybody else is continuing on. I guess this is not going to be alarming to me is my point, because we're so far away from games. Mm-hmm. Like when Juan Soto of the Nationals, the day of the game, tested positive. Well, it's a bit alarming if you're a Nationals fan or for the Nationals because, hey, it's game day. Mm-hmm. Well, that changes our lineup. It's one of our young, talented players.
Changes everything.
So I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying I think we're going to see this a little bit. What's really interesting is when we do get closer to games in the NFL, do we see it? And when we get that report on a Sunday morning and it says 3 players have tested positive, can't play, well, that becomes ultra significant.
Well, it becomes big time significant because keep in mind, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Brent, but if a player tests positive during the season, he's out in quarantine at least a minimum of 3 weeks, correct?
I got to double check it.
Okay.
I don't want to say
I'm pretty
yes.
sure.
I don't. I'm reading so much.
Yeah, sure.
that I'll have to double check.
But,
but you might be right.
I'm pretty sure that's what it stated. Where
I don't know if it's a number of tests or a certain amount of time, because this one is not a certain amount of time. Like,
correct.
Now it's a number of tests that you have to pass.
Yeah, because they're not in the season. But I think when the season starts, it's different.
Yeah, we'll find that out.
We'll find it out.
But so that could be super significant.
Well,
obviously.
very significant, obviously, as well. And keep in mind, I mean, there is a little gamesmanship around it. So let's assume, for instance, that maybe that's not the way it is, or maybe it is even that way. And a player has a right to either say he's got COVID-19 or maybe a family member. Well, now we're talking gamesmanship, right? Because we know how coaches love not to reveal any kind of injuries, right? Like, especially Belichick. He always keeps it under wraps. Well, the last thing they're going to do now is say, well, he's got COVID-19. He's got COVID-19. No, because that way, the team that you're going against can think, well, is he going to play because it's maybe a family member or a close friend, or is it himself? So there's a little gamesmanship now that I'm sure we're going to see down the line when the season starts regarding COVID-19 as well.
Yeah, we're all learning along the way on what this all means and how it will be interpreted. I just think right now, expect some of this. We expect it a little bit with the rookies. I think we'll expect it with some of the testing that goes on with the veterans reporting. Mm-hmm. And I also think it's not anything to go, oh my gosh, Jawan Taylor's on the list.
Yeah.
It's not like he went on injured reserve and lost for the season. That's totally different. If we're talking about Jawan Taylor opting out for the season, well, that changes the dynamic of the football team. I just think we have to keep it in perspective that we're going to see this early on. But I do think it's setting us up for, wow, what does this mean on a Saturday in football season or Sunday morning in football season when something like this were to happen to your right tackle?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden you have to go through that game. I'll tell you what, it's never been a more important time probably in the NFL to be on your P's and Q's as a backup in the NFL.
So a little clarification, too. So NFL players go on IR for 3 weeks if they test positive for COVID-19. And that is during the season.
Okay.
And then, that was the whole thing where
it's that short-term IR
it's
that they created.
It's a short-term IR where either then you can come back after those 3 weeks pending that you're healthy, or else you can go on full-time IR. Remember, that was the whole thing we got into about where is it an injury designation or whatever? Yeah, so that's the rule.
That is even can be confusing now, and it's changed over the years just from an injury standpoint. Guys can come back and play, much like Nick Foles did, right? He went on IR, and he was able to be eligible to come off when he did for the Jags. But you still – now, he could have been healthy enough to come off 2 weeks prior, but he couldn't.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you're saying. This one, you got 3 weeks, but you can't come back sooner than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Is that what it says?
This according to ProFootballTalk.com when the NFL protocol was announced. Yes, so – it's amending that any player that reaches the IR designation from COVID-19 will sit a minimum of 3 weeks until that player tests negative. Even if a player does test negative, they are still required to sit the 3 weeks.
Like I just said, being a backup is, listen, you can fall asleep as a backup, right? You're going to be like, well, I'm not playing this week. I don't think you can get away with that this year.
Oh, man, you better mind your P's and Q's now, Brent, because, literally in the flip of a switch, it can change like that. All of a sudden you can talk about 3 or 4 guys being out, and then that's for 3 straight weeks. So, yeah, not only are you a backup, but you could be a backup for weeks and weeks to come.
Yeah, it's a good point. Mm-hmm. The depth, which obviously the Jags don't have a ton of, is kind of the roll of the dice here. The NFL isn't full of depth to begin with, but depth will be challenged in a big-time way. And that's why you kind of, if you can keep your fingers crossed and not have a bunch of tests during the season, well, that might be a break that other people in your division, other teams that look better than you on paper, don't have the luxury of. They might fall into a bad luck category. I mean, it is going to be a bit of a crapshoot when it comes to that.
You're not lying. And let's be honest here real quick. How realistic right now is it for NFL teams to have their players, say, for instance, let's say like a Quincy Williams or let's say even a Shaq Quarterman. How realistic is it to teach these guys more than one spot? I get it. They're young, and I understand that, and you want to kind of ease them into it. But let's just say all of a sudden we got 2 or 3 linebackers or 2 or 3 secondary guys that are out right now, and you got to plug and play somebody at the drop of a hat. I wouldn't be surprised if they have guys, practicing more than multiple positions now, just so they're ready just in case the worst-case scenario happens.
Yeah, it's a good point. We should talk to Doug Marrone later in the week, and maybe a good question for him.
Yeah.
Coaches like to cross-train anyway, but we always have these discussions. Can you cross-train too much?
Of course,
and now
especially
you're
with a young
team. Young player.
Yeah.
So, fascinating. It's kind of interesting, especially when you – like yesterday, it's hard to when we got the news yesterday, first of all, we're trying to dissect it. It might have been the worst 15 minutes of radio we've done on the show because I'm trying to figure out what the heck's going on. We got TV people calling me. I got everything going on.
Names are hard to pronounce. You give us the worst possible names possible.
Yeah, and so as we get used to this a little bit, even yesterday, like, okay, Luke Barku is supposed to be an undrafted free agent, and people say nice things about him, but how much is he going to impact the football team, right? Devon Hamilton, you figure he might play a little bit. Third-round pick. Yep. Josiah Scott, fourth-round pick. But still, I'm not like, okay, this season is really all on Devon Hamilton and Josiah Scott.
Sure.
You bring today the name Jawan Taylor, and if we get some bigger names, which I assume we will at some point over the next six weeks, it kind of rings a little bit different, and you almost got to hit the brakes and be like, whoa. It's like, settle down. First of all, you're X amount of days away from the season. Yeah. Second of all, this is somewhat the norm that it's going to be soon enough. And thirdly, it didn't change your football team for 2020 yet.
Correct.
But what we did just bring up is if September 12th or 13th, these kind of stories come out, which I assume they will to some teams, to this football team here in Jacksonville, and that player is Miles Jack, Joe Schobert, Gardner Minshew, Leonard Fournette, DJ Chark. Well, now that's a scratch that you get on the inactives, and you're like, oh, boy. You know?
Well, and
again, you just mentioned it for a few weeks, too.
Correction. Yeah, correct. But even with, like, so for instance, with John Taylor, like right now, I mean, and listen, there's no ideal time to get COVID-19. But at least he has it right now, or at least he knows someone that has it. I want to put that out there as well. He may not have it. He may be around someone that has had it in the past, whatever the reason is. But regardless, Jawan Taylor right now, yeah. So there's probably going to be a quarantine period for him until he gets healthy. But I would much rather have it right now for a very promising second-year guy as opposed to in training camp when the pads come on, when you kind of make your bread and everything, and when you kind of, you start to gel as an offensive unit and a cohesive unit. I would rather have him out right now as opposed to when those pads come on, and that's when you get really better. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I mean, there's no really silver lining with COVID-19, but at least he's not missing full padded practices.
Yeah. And I think now it's about negative tests. That's what happened. Okay, what else is going on in the building? I think this is interesting. So we're on with the Jags PR staff today, all the media was, and trying to figure out, okay, how are we doing this? We're all navigating this together, and how are you going to cover the Jags? How are we going to cover the Jags? How are we going to cover it for you? We're not even getting to games, by the way. I asked a question about the games, and that's so far off that nobody really even knows.
Yeah.
So it's not even worth discussing that, which is 7 weeks away, but it's really not. I mean, I can't give any answers. Just for planning purposes, it's hard to plan. I don't know what that's going to look like. But basically, we're going to continue to look like Zoom calls with Doug Marrone and players and things like that for the next couple of weeks. Then I said earlier in the show, and I've been saying really for a week, look around August 12th as the time where you might see video of players on the field. You know, if you're watching CBS 47 and Fox 30, or we couldn't go out there and say, hey, this Minshew looked good today. You know, you might be able to do that by August 12th, and it might even be a few days after that. That's part of this acclimation process. What I thought was interesting is kind of the setting, if I can illustrate this to you. Players report, you get Minshew and Fournette and guys walking in the building. Everybody's got masks going through there. And they go off to a trailer, which is just outside the Jags weight room, essentially. And that's this third-party company that has come in to do the testing across the NFL. And you go get your tests. And that's about it for the veterans today. Well, the rookies already did that. So the rookies who are okay to be in the building are now in the building, can also be in meeting rooms, can also be out on the field for walkthroughs or conditioning or those kind of things. They're already at that stage. The veterans that just came in today, well, they can't get there until next week after they pass physicals.
Let me ask you this real quick. So the rookies go in that van or whatever one time, like that testing center one time, and they're good?
No.
Or is it on a daily basis?
It's a 3-test system, I think, over the first week.
Okay.
So it's basically get tested, go home, come back, get tested, go home.
Wow.
And then a couple more days pass, get tested one more time. And if you pass through them all, well, then you're good to go to the building.
Gotcha.
That's it. And you also, by the way, get a tracking device because they track who you are in close contact with.
Yep.
So they then can alert them if you are positive.
No.
So that's the way that's working.
Did you get the manufacturer of that tracking device so we can buy stock in it right now? Did you ask that question?
I did not.
So you're slacking, but it's okay.
I am slacking.
It's all good. No worries.
The get-rich-quick scheme is not working.
Go on as you were. I'm sorry for interrupting.
World.
Yeah. Okay. So there's that then.
So here's what. Okay, I kind of had a visual of that. You know, the rookies are in there and they're starting to. Well, they can at least see the facility and talk.
They can see where their meeting rooms are at and everything.
But this is the part that's really interesting. This is what I want to illustrate. So, you know, inside NFL buildings, you've seen it on Hard Knocks and everywhere. You got the big meeting room, right,
Sure.
where all the players and the coach gets up and talk. Well, then you have different meeting rooms for positions, and you might have an offensive meeting, a defensive meeting, but you also might have a defensive end meeting. You might have a linebacker meeting. You might have a cornerback room meeting.
Correct.
So I think people are pretty much aware of that. Well, this is the visual that struck me, is that the corners are in the cornerback room, the linebackers in the linebacker room, defensive linemen are in the D-line room, offensive linemen, receivers, running back, quarterbacks. All right, so you got all your rooms.
They're all split up by positions, yeah.
So they're split up, but that's normal.
That's standard.
There you go, do your work in there.
That's where you spend your most time as a player.
When the coach talks to the team, the head
for those
coach,
team meetings you're talking about.
Well, yeah, any coach. Let's just say the offensive coordinator, defense coordinator. Let's just take Doug Marrone because he's the greatest example of this, the easiest one. Doug Marrone is addressing the team from his office on a virtual setting. So they have cameras in every one of those position rooms with microphones, and there's this inner feed, I assume on Microsoft Teams, of... It's basically a Zoom, even though they're all in the building, there's basically a Zoom meeting going on in the building, not all in one room together, with Doug Marrone basically sitting in his office addressing the team.
Okay, but let me go ahead and clarify this, though. So it starts out with a team meeting, right? Then maybe you go to your defensive meetings, whatever, offensive meetings, and then you spend your most time going over film, going over technique, all that stuff. You spend that in position meetings.
Yes. So
now you're sitting in your position meeting with, like, let's say 6-7 other guys. In your position group.
I'm assuming socially distant.
Socially distant, of course. So is your position coach who sits in the meeting, is he on the screen as well, or will he be in the meeting with you?
I get the sense that the position coach will be in the meeting. That's what I get the sense.
Okay.
But Wash, when he talks to the entire defense, is not.
Is not.
And Gruden, when he talks to the offense, is not, because they don't bring the offense all together. They keep them in their rooms. Same thing with the defense. They keep them in the rooms. So the team is never really together.
So there really is no team meeting. The team meeting takes place a la a video board in your position group room. Usually a team meeting where it says, obviously, every single one of your teammates meets in one giant room.
Yep.
You sit next to each other.
It's called the team room.
Yeah, exactly.
At Jags headquarters.
Exactly. And then that's kind of, that's the first meeting of the day. That's where you get, here's what today's practice is going to be like. Here's what we have to do better, yada, yada, yada. Well, that's no longer. Now it's all position groups, and if it's a team meeting, it takes place via a video board.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Isn't it wild?
That is absolutely crazy.
It caught my attention. It was like, the visualization of that, which, by the way, shouldn't be stunning, I guess. I mean, we're all doing it. I've been on 100 conference calls in the last 2 months.
Yeah.
And whether it's with the Jags from an interview setting or whether it's internally here with a sales team or something, that's the way it's going. I just think it's a unique. What makes it so unique is you have that visualization. Like, even when we have meetings in person, yeah, people get up and talk sometimes, but a lot of our meetings, at least in TV land and radio, I think are around like a conference table. You know, like when we meet, we'll be around a conference room. Not the head coach and coaches of the football team. We have a visualization, thanks to Hard Knocks and just knowing the game so much and seeing so much video on it, that up in front is Nick Saban in front of his college football team, Dan Mullen, Doug Marrone, Bill Belichick. We see that. We know that. Well, instead, now that person is in their office. And everything's from the office, which is just fascinating. It's just, I think it illustrates what's going on and to what degree it's going on, even though it's a very simplistic thing, and it probably doesn't change a whole lot. You can still get the message.
No, you can still get the message, but to me, see, Brent, those team meetings where you have the entire team under one roof in one meeting room, sitting next to each other. Now, I understand that violates the codes of social distancing, but I'm just saying from the importance of that first team meeting. You know, like obviously during training camp, team morale can get pretty low, right? It's the dog days of summer. Everyone's depleted. Everyone's tired. Everyone's just kind of over it. And like that team meeting is what motivates your guys. You know, whether it was Gus Bradley, sharing these crazy stories, giving up all the energy he could, whether it was Andy Reid in a meeting trying to make people laugh, and kind of lighten the mood a little bit. Like every coach has their own kind of style, but the team meeting under one roof was designed to kind of loosen morale a little bit and get everybody on the same page. Now, I don't say it's even a concern, but like my question would be, can you get that same desired effect? Can you get that same desired result if you're just sitting with your position group the whole time? If you're not with your teammates sitting next to you? If you're not under one roof and you don't have like that team camaraderie, I wonder if those messages are not going to hit as hard as they used to be being under one room.
Yeah, I think so.
That's my concern.
I think so. I think that's fair. I also don't want to over-dramatize it. I think there's, in a strange way, and Kuz, I don't know if you feel this way too, but you've been on a bunch of these, probably more than Austin has, like these Zoom meetings and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I haven't done a lot of those.
Austin doesn't sign up and go to any of those things.
Nah, we're all good.
But there is kind of an intimacy to those that's, I think, somewhat interesting. Now, what you're saying is if you work 9 to 5 right now and you're listening to me say that, you're like, yeah, you should try about 10 of those a day, and you tell me how intimate they are. I understand. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for these purposes, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you can look at the body language of a coach that you normally would be and get fired up or get whatever. But how many guys walk out of a team meeting in the NFL and then want to go run through a brick wall? I mean, it just does. It's not like that. It's like that in the movies, but it's not like that in reality.
I've left a few of our meetings that were actually in person before all this, like fired up to do something. I can guarantee I haven't had that happen through these Zoom meetings.
Yeah, you're just fired up to go use your own bathroom.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well,
I'm going to go sit on the couch now.
If we're being wholeheartedly honest, I remember a couple meetings when we scrimmaged with, wasn't scrimmage, but like inter-squad practice with the Falcons. And I remember Del Rio, after one practice, was like ticked because we weren't doing that well. And basically, like, challenged us, right? And you could see it.
You could feel it.
And guess what, though? After that meeting, we're like, dude, we got to step it up. Enough said. And we did. So, like, I agree with you, like, how much really goes into it, but I'm just saying there's a couple examples that I can give you where the coach's energy that he purveys in person, it exemplifies and it rubs off on you for practice.
I don't know if you can change this. That's a great point right there, because you brought up like Gus, right? And you brought up that moment in Jack Del Rio. And I think of a guy like Gruden here. You can feel those guys a bit when they're in front of, like, you just can. I mean, whether it works, whether it's effective, that's not the conversation point here. I know that's dangerous every time I mention Gus Bradley. But
careful.
But let's bring up Gruden then, okay?
Sure.
Because you can feel Gruden.
Knock with me.
I'm talking, John.
Oh, Jay Gruden.
No, I'm talking John. So
John,
right.
yeah. Knock it with me.
But you can feel that. My guess is you can feel Sean McVay, right?
Correct.
You can feel the energy, the vibe the guy has. In a weird way, you can feel people like Andy Reid and Belichick because you know their personality already, and you kind of just, in the room, you can sense it.
Dude, and just to Andy Reid's point, like, I'm telling you, man, like, and I've said this story how many times, like, Andy Reid was never the rah-rah guy, right? But, like, when he came in, he was, like, your favorite teacher in grade school. It was like, dude, like, this is my guy right here. Like, he understands us. Yeah. He gets us. Let's listen to him. Let's give him some respect. Like, he had that command over a locker room.
Okay, so my guess is the McVays and Grudens of the world are going to come across even on their Microsoft Teams meeting as that guy, because energy is energy, and you can feel it. I don't know if Reid and Belichick, because of the way you feel them differently, will come across that way. And so I think the personality guy, Pete Carroll as well would be included in this. The personality guy might have a bit of an advantage here. Whereas the guy that doesn't sit there and exude all the personality might be a little bit of a disadvantage, even if it's a subconscious one, with their players.
Okay, see, and I do a complete 180, and I disagree with you. I think guys like Andy Reid, guys like Bill Belichick, they have that advantage because they're not emotional coaches. Okay, they coach from a sense of just understanding and not necessarily like, being super passionate. They're just even keel. And I think, like, for instance, if you have a super passionate guy, let's say like a Gruden, or a passionate guy like a Pete Carroll, if you're to talk to him on the phone, like, yeah, you can get a good idea. Like, these guys are ready to go. But when you meet him in person, it's like, oh, dude, I'm ready to run through a wall for you. Like, for instance, if you talk to somebody on the phone, say you call, I don't know, call your cable company, right? And you chew them out. So they messed up, and you're really ticked off, man. And you're super agitated, and you're passionate, and you're probably saying some things that you would regret, probably saying some things that you don't want your kids to hear, but you're saying these things. You probably wouldn't act that way in person to that person that you're on the phone with, right? But since you're on the phone, since there's not that, personal connection, you kind of say whatever you want to. But if you're standing face-to-face with somebody, it's probably going to be a little different. So that's why I think, like, those passionate coaches, those energy coaches, they need that human interaction, that face-to-face contact, because it's hard to get that across, I think, via Zoom or social, via whatever, Microsoft Office.
That's a good example of it. And how about when you're yelling at somebody? Can you yell at somebody through a Zoom meeting?
Right? Yeah.
Right?
It's a good call.
I mean, can you? I don't know. I mean, it feels, that's a good point in that sense. Maybe not even on I think you can kind of pump somebody up through the Zoom meetings.
Of course.
But can you yell at somebody through that Microsoft Team meeting or wherever else? And can you feel that? Like, like my first reaction, if you were yelling, or one of the bosses yelled, or like, were they serious?
For sure.
Right?
Yeah, is this guy for real right now? Well, and also, too, and one of the worst things I hated about team meetings, and one of the first things I ever dreaded, was say I had a really bad practice and I messed up. And then the coach would highlight that in the team meeting. He'd actually show the clip and be like, all right, well, let's see what Austin did right here. You see how he got thrown out of the club in this play? We don't need that, guys. Let's stay low. Let's drive our feet. So, like, you always dreaded, like, you use as an example in front of all your peers, in front of the entire team on this film. If you do that now in the meeting rooms, like, yeah, sure, it'll still be on video where everyone can see it, but you're not around all your peers again. You're not around the other coaches. So that could have a different feel as well.
It's pretty wild. And I guess we don't know. We'll find out. Mm-hmm. But a part of that connection, in my opinion, is going to be an important part of getting chemistry and team rapport through the first few weeks until you get on the field, until you're free to go hit each other.
Especially a young team, too.
Yeah, so all that. And I guess, which one does Marrone fall into? See, Marrone has a wittiness about him, and he can relate a bit. But he also, I've got a feeling when Doug puts on his glasses and goes to work, he's got more that laid-back feel, more in the Belichick and Andy Reid and kind of category.
Sure.
As how I view him. And so, yeah, when he gets pissed off, what does he do? Jump out of his chair? Like, is just what he says?
Yeah.
Where's the energy come from if you need to go dig in for energy?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, I'm kind of looking forward to talking to Marrone about it now and seeing if do you think of these things. Listen, these guys craft everything. I mean, they think of all this stuff. And so, yeah, I mean, I think as a speaker, when you're speaking to somebody, especially a bigger group, you know if they're kind of sleeping through it,
of course,
or they're feeling you.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to be hard for coaches to figure out, I guess, is my point.
Well, and to me, it comes down to one word, and that's energy. Because, Brent, you've been in a million locker rooms. You've heard coaches' speeches. You've heard players talk. Like, there's a factor of energy, right? And energy is contagious. And now that you essentially take away the biggest part of that human interaction, it's on Doug Marrone now to try to cultivate the energy in a new way. Listen, I'm not sure how he's going to respond to, these Zoom meetings or whatever you want to call them, where he's talking to his team on the video board. But it's his job now going forward to try to exemplify the energy and obviously the accountability as well.
Yeah, really interesting. I think it'll be a great study and probably psychology in a way. And again, I'll say this, much like if you're sending your kid to school or did in the spring and had to go through the changes, and I think if you're doing it again this fall, some people learn better in different environments. We learn in different ways. And I think you can't just take a gamble that people are learning one way. You have to be able to complement your teaching styles so there's learning by everybody.
You're only as strong as your weakest link, so you have to carry everybody with you. Yep.
Pretty wild. I've got a thought about teams trying to go all in any year, but especially in 2020. And there's one team that comes to mind. It's not the Jacksonville Jaguars, but it's one you're probably rooting for that does poorly in 2020. It's on the way on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Scattered showers and storms middle of the day through the afternoon will develop again today. Highs 90 to 95, down to 70 to 75 tonight. And partly sunny tomorrow. Scattered afternoon thunderstorms your Wednesday high in the lower 90s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish. Join me today beginning at 5 p.m. on CBS 47 at Fox 30 Action News Jax.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where for a limited time, you can get 5 years, 0 interest financing.
Deep into the summer months in Northeast Florida, hotter weather means your family should be drinking more water, more clean water. With a Kinetico system from CGC Water, they remove up to 99% of contaminants. That's clean water. CGC Water is offering a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener. Kinetico Premier softeners are non-electric and have twin tanks, making them super efficient, saving you money. Schedule your free water test today. Get peace of mind knowing your family's water is safe water. CGC is taking extra precautions with in-home visits following CDC guidelines, including no contact sales and service appointments, with all employees wearing masks and gloves at all times, and employee temperature checks every morning before they send out their team into your home. Remember, a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Kinetico dealer.
Are you now worried about how to continue providing the same level of service to your customers? Many service-oriented businesses are struggling to create new ways to maintain their customers. What happens to those that haven't been able to adapt? At SCORE, we can help by offering advice and resources through a vast library of online information and timely webinars. Since 1964, SCORE has assisted more than 11 million entrepreneurs and small business owners. Go to our website, jacksonville.score.org, to see how we can help you today.
Boating with friends and family is enjoyable and the ultimate in safe social distancing. Yamaha Marine Center in Orange Park on Wells Road has one of the best lineups of premium boat brands, including Pursuit and Regulator, and the best-selling boats in Florida, Key West Boats. Visit YamahaMarineJax.com to find your boat today. Yamaha Marine Center provides award-winning customer service before and after the sale. Let them help you find the right boat for your adventures. Yamaha Marine Center on Wells Road in Orange Park. Visit YamahaMarineJax.com.
Mortgage rates are at historic all-time lows. There's no better time. Duval! Purchase your first home or refinance with Crossview Mortgage. At Crossview, they have a proven track record with VA loans and helping people even when the big banks can't. Get pre-qualified. Do your application by phone in minutes. Let them help you save thousands. Call Crossview Mortgage, 325-9008. That's 325-9008. CrossviewMortgage.com. NMLS number 1377291.
They're breaking all the rules at Diamonds Direct with an unprecedented store-wide sale going on now. Save 20% and more on an expanded selection. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, including trunk loads of all new designer pieces flown in from around the world. But hurry, this first time ever 11-day sale ends this Sunday. In-store, online, and virtual. All options open. All merchandise included. Even thousands of engagement rings on sale. An extraordinary sale for an extraordinary time. 20% savings now through Sunday only. Only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
After a long day, having my dogs greet me at the door with their silly smiles and wagging tails makes me happy. I want to keep that joy with me for years to come. That's why I trust Forever Vets Animal Hospital to keep my pets healthy. Forever Vets was voted 2019's Best Vet in Jacksonville Magazine's Readers Poll, and it's easy to see why. The affordable wellness plans are tailored to meet all of your pets' changing needs as they grow. Open 7 days a week, Forever Vets friendly staff is available to treat you and your pet with care. They combine extended hours with online booking to allow you to give your pet quality care while accommodating your schedule. Go online to forevervets.com to find which of their 9 locations is nearest you. And don't forget their newest location in Bartram Market. Forever Vets Animal Hospital, keeping your pets happy and healthy forever.
If you have a specific medical problem, you call a specialist. Broken leg? Call an orthopedist. Cataracts? call an ophthalmologist. At Prime Men's Medical Center, our doctors specialize in ED and PE. Listen to Dr. Rubinski, a renowned expert in men's health.
I'm Dr. Rubinski. If you're experiencing ED or PE, Prime Men's Medical Center has custom blended medications to help you last longer in the bedroom, regardless of age or past medical history, with no pain or surgery. In fact, you'll see results in the office guaranteed or your exam is free. Patients are now lasting for 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer. And best of all, treatments are affordable.
Men, if Viagra, Cialis, or Levitra have let you down, call Prime Men's Medical Center for a private consultation with our highly skilled physicians. Call 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105. 904-206-8105.
Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
With COVID-19, more local families than ever need food. Our seniors require extra support, and kids stuck at home could use something to smile about. A gift in any amount will make a big difference, especially when you give through Jewish Family and Community Services. Thanks to the Max Block Food Pantry Matching Challenge, your donation will automatically double. Jewish Family and Community Services. Here for hunger, here for Jags. Learn more at hereforjax.com.
WFOX Fox 30 has been removed from the service of Dish Network after the satellite provider refused to agree to a fair deal for a new retransmission consent agreement with Cox Media Group. If you're affected by this decision to deprive you of important local news and programming during these critical times, make your voice heard. Call Dish today at 1-800-333-3474. That's 1-800-333-3474 and demand that they put Fox 30 back on Dish.
Hey everybody, this is Brent Martineau. Social distancing doesn't mean disconnecting. If you're working from home or just steering clear of coworkers, keep tabs on the world of sports and Action Sports Jax on your smart speaker. Tell your Amazon Echo or Google Home to play ESPN690.
Now, back to Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
I know they're recommending, and I know they're still going through some process of actually looking at different scenarios for those. So there will be some options for the players to use those visors or face masks, however they look, and it'll be up to them. And I'm happy Juwan has decided to play. He's a great young man, and he's going to be a great young player for us.
That is Dave Caldwell, Jaguars GM, on Brian Kilmeade Show on 104.5 WOKV earlier today. I assume you saw about Juwan Taylor right there.
Yeah.
Who, ironically, in the last hour, has Jaguars let us know that he is now on the reserved COVID-19 list. And again, the clarification is doesn't mean he tested positive. He can come out and say if he did or he didn't, but he could have also just been in quarantine because he knows somebody who tested positive. So that's the distinction there. Hey, K'Lavon Chaisson, I've thought about this. Should I just get my own production crew to follow me around?
Right.
K'Lavon Chaisson puts like a new video out of himself every 3 days.
What was his shirt off again?
Shirt off on the beach.
I mean, you might as well, dude. When you look like a Ninja Turtle, like you're that ripped, do what you got to do, man.
So you're advising me that I should?
You personally? Yeah. I mean, do you? Yeah, you seem to be in okay shape. I mean, you don't have the traps like he does, but it's all right. No, I mean that's what players are doing now. I think Smoot does the same thing, right?
Smoot, he did. He has all his guys
like
out
production
last year.
company. Yeah. And Colin Johnson from Texas has his own YouTube channel.
He does. What's the benefit of it?
It's just branding.
Yeah,
it's just it just kind of gets people behind the scenes a little bit. I mean, as Jay-Z once said, you're a businessman, so like you might as well go with that. I mean, your body and your mind is the business, so showcase it off. I wouldn't do it, but
there's some YouTubers that have that essentially now. That's like the thing. It just kind of follows them around, going on vacation, doing stuff like that, and then they'll do like shirt drops, right? They'll release a shirt that just has one of whatever they said on it for like $80. Yeah. Over the weekend, Nicole's brother is a big fan of one. So they did what they called a clothing drop.
Yeah.
These shirts, I'm talking like this, like what I'm wearing right here, just a regular T-shirt.
Yeah.
$88. Sold out in minutes.
Dang. See, to me, and listen, with all due respect to Smoot and Colin Johnson and Chase on, man, go ahead and brand yourself, promote yourself, get that money. But I can never do that, Brent. I was always the guy that make fun of that kind of stuff. Because, to me, in the off season, but of course you're working out. But of course you are. So, why do you need to tell everybody that you're working out?
You need the muscle watch.
Check this out right now. Guess what I'm doing? In the squat rack, putting up a lot of weight. You know why? Because I'm a football player. But of course you are. If you're not, I would be taken back by it. So, that's why I never, I posted the selfies and things like that. But I get it, man. It wasn't for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think about this much, and I have to catch myself when I say something.
Careful.
Because I tweet more than anybody.
Sure.
Right?
That's cool.
And I'll throw the kids up there and what we're doing and have fun with it. And I've thought of this a little bit more recently. I'm like, well, I kind of just do it. I feel like I'm interacting with our audience, right?
But, yeah.
I don't know but I guess in essence, somebody would be like, well, you're branding. You're working on branding. I'm like, yeah, I guess, but that's not I'm not doing that with that intent.
Well, but let's be honest. Go ahead, Goose.
You also have to do interesting things every second of every day. No one's going to want to watch a vlog of you golfing in the morning and then coming in and doing radio.
And this is my point, Brett.
Easy now. Nobody? Settle
down.
down.
There's definitely a huge demand for that, the golfers. I mean, you and Coos can talk golf all the time now. He's into it. But I think, in terms
of... Following my round of golf around might be highly entertaining.
No.
Throwing clubs, breaking them, swearing.
Brent, but here's what you're not doing. You're not taking selfies and videos of, hey, I'm writing the show today. Check this out. Here's me with a pen or on a computer typing the show again.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You know why? Because it's your everyday kind of thing. Just like with an NFL player, you work out every single day. That's what you're supposed to do. You have to take care of your body. So, to me... I see what you're trying to say here, but you're not taking people behind the mundane things of your everyday business life. You're doing cool things. That's what NFL players are doing too. Colin Johnson's on the beach or something like that doing a video. That's cool. But I just think if you keep on taking videos with your shirt off, lifting weights, there's only going to be such a need for that. Unless there's a lot of thirsty girls out there, then I'm sure they'll hit you in the DMs, which mission accomplished if you want that.
Yeah.
You know what? That's what it's for.
That's probably what it's for.
I look at this too. It's kind of the similar conversation because, I live in this world, right? In the travel baseball stuff and at this age, and I see it all the time from 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds. They'll basically say they've all got Twitter handles.
Yeah.
Now, which is whatever. I mean, that's fine.
It's the way of the world.
And I see a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them saying whatever it is, class of 2023 and 6 foot whatever and my 60 time. It's a little bit of recruiting tools just to put it out there. GPA, they throw that on there. Okay, that's one thing. But then they'll be like, hey, pitch today in Sanford, 2 innings, 6 batters, 3 up, 3 down, topped out at 78 miles an hour. I'm like, is anybody watching this stuff? Are the college coaches looking at that?
Yeah.
I just don't know. I mean, again, I'm not really criticizing it. And then, again, I got to be a little careful because I'll throw the kids out doing their stuff too. But I'm not just saying, not for that purpose.
But
the
that's
videos
you,
work,
though,
right?
doing your thing, though. It's not them,
Yeah,
Brad.
they don't have Twitter handles, right?
Well,
yet. I mean, maybe they're going to ask for one soon enough.
Yeah.
It's really interesting what people
but
will it's two different things, right? Caleb Von Chason's doing it not to get noticed from the Jags. He's already signed. He's doing it from a branding standpoint, kind of sitting, hey, I'm Kayvon Chason. Hey, when Pro Bowls and accolades and all those things come around, maybe it grows his brand, much like we were talking about Fred Taylor and Keenan Allen yesterday.
People love behind-the-scenes stuff.
These other kids look, there's so many baseball players out there, so many football players out there. They want to show them something to catch the attention. I just don't buy that coaches are saying, wow, look at that. The guy went 6 up, 6 down in a game and one of the 1 million games that
Check
happened.
out his filter that he's using. This kid's got smarts. He's a baseball player. I want him on our team.
Him throwing in 75 miles per hour in black and white looks way better.
But I might be wrong. Maybe they are, especially right now, too, in this day and age. Like the recruiting stuff is off.
Listen, social media is definitely a recruiting tool.
But they can't go to games. Like, that's the only thing they can get right now is college recruits because, NCAA has said you can't even go. You can't go recruiting. It's done right now. So maybe there's something to it. It just is. It's an odd thing how it's used.
Yeah, so social media is definitely a recruiting tool. I mean, I talk to college coaches all the time, and like the first thing that they do when they're recruiting somebody is they check the dude's Twitter, or they check them, on their Facebook, they request them as a friend because they want to see, what their thoughts are. They want to see the personalities and things like that. Because I mean,
how they're talking, what they're interacting with.
Yeah, because Twitter is a mirror.
That makes sense.
It really is, absolutely. But now, listen, in terms of
that's why I tell the kids you're not getting one.
They're coming to the house to find out who you are. We're having dinner, and we're going to find out who
That's
you are.
Somebody who can lie about you.
Exactly.
That you can't lie about.
For sure. But how much recruiters and things put into stake of this video stuff that you made. Well, I did this so and I don't think there's that much to it. I think it's more from a personality as it is from your stats and your workouts and things like that. I mean, listen, that's what almost got me an interview on NFL Live that I was supposed to have with Sarah Walsh until Drew Brees that day took me over, remember? But it was me essentially making fun of everything. It was me making fun of people that post their workout videos and post their schedule, things like that. I found some satire towards it, and it got a great response. Now, once again, Sarah Walsh is what it is.
Still waiting.
Hey, you know what? 10 years later, it's all good though. But at the end of the day, listen, there's a fine line, I think, in my opinion, between coming off as just kind of all right, dude, we get it.
Yeah.
And actually being creative and putting yourself out there for the world to see. There's a fine line.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes players get a little bit too wrapped up in the optics of check me working out as opposed to, dude, we get it. You work out. You're a football player. You're supposed to. Give us something else. Show us something cool.
Well, and in fairness to you, when you were doing that, and by the way, that was on the earlier stages of Twitter.
Well, it
was more about, hey, I'll be over here getting ice cream. I'll buy you ice cream. It was less about, hey, look how many pounds I lifted today. Look how many sprints I did at the beach today.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you live that in. And I get that. I mean, heck, that's something that we all do now in this industry, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why we've considered getting a TikTok.
Exactly. It's just breaking down the Jaguar stats over dancing. I still say we do that, man.
I mean, if we can do it, then it grows the brand.
It does.
Whatever grows the brand within reason. And sometimes you got to kind of just take one for the team.
Well, no, I hear you.
It feels not so great, but you got to do it.
But you know what, though, Brett? And this is my point, and this kind of comes full circle. It's different, though, right? Every single NFL player, at least one time per week, is going to get that squat rack, and they're going to squat. Every single week, probably more than one time a week, they're going to bench press. We get that, and we understand that you're working out. But what are you doing that's different? Give me something different. Give me something unique that I can be dang, I've never seen that before, or dang, see what he's doing there. To me, it's about being unique. That's where the TikTok video comes in. If you and me one day, rocking our ESPN690 polos, are doing this dance while we're breaking down Gardner Minshew's, footage on the wall that says it all, well, that's unique. Now, it could be foolish, and we could feel kind of dumb doing it, but guess what? It's different. It's out there. Yeah. I'm for it.
ESPN690 TikTok.
Oh, can you imagine, man? Just us dancing and breaking down the Jaguar
we should probably have one.
Oh, yeah, we should.
We probably should. If nothing else, just to embarrass my kids.
Now we're talking.
Right?
Well, you kids have it, right?
You can test them, right? If they see your TikTok videos, then you go, how did you see
do that? Oh, yeah, we do that already.
Okay, yeah.
So I think that could be good. It's a trap. I'm saying.
Well, and that's the whole goal.
Parenting.
It's great parenting, but it's also good promotion because now we make that trap go viral. The whole point is this, listen, we have to be super big so it's going to come across their cell phones, and then they can see it.
Yeah, we got to utilize the kids when you can.
You better believe it.
Cool. You had a great story, by the way, from last week on the pizza delivery. Tell it, please.
Yeah, we, when you get drunk, you want pizza. So that's like a
every
thing.
Conversation crews have.
It's drunk.
Start with when you're drunk.
Hey, do you need to do intervention next week? You okay?
Listen,
I'm
okay?
I'm surprised Vita de Louis and Carve and Live Oak, all this stuff is still here.
It's just water, Brent.
It's water.
Oh, he replaced it.
It's like when you steal from
To
your
the game.
parents.
We got apple juice for the whiskey, and we got water over here for
Clues,
the
just
vodka
so you
and
know,
tequila.
man, I put a marker of where the alcohol was in these bottles.
Oh, believe me, my dad did that to me when I was younger, and I filled it back with water, and he didn't know, and he put it in the freezer. Oh, I got in so much trouble.
Better believe it.
But either way, so we were drinking and we ordered pizza, and the app that I use just has my address as the default, address. So I just put everything through and went, and we're sitting there waiting for the pizza to come for like 2 hours. And I called this place, and I'm yelling at them, obviously because I've been drinking, so that didn't help things. And then they're like, "You never placed an order with us." And then when we got home from vacation 3 days later, there was a pizza sitting on our doorstep.
There. So to the house, obviously, it went.
Yeah, I sent it to the wrong place.
Yeah, wrong
That's
address.
awesome.
Dang.
And you said it was eaten by some
I
animals.
think some things got in there.
Some
There were a
kind
lot of ants
small
involved.
varmin. Ugh. Well, I don't want to say what kind of pizza it was. We don't want to give them any free advertisement. I mean, was it an expensive?
Pepperoni.
No, but was it like an expensive? Like, was it like a gourmet pepperoni?
No.
Okay.
It was
Listen, there's some expensive pizzas out there.
It was pineapple and ham.
No, it wasn't. No one's gonna. Not even the ants would eat that.
We got into
They take one bite. Now I'm out of here.
We got into a big argument while playing a card game because it was talking about fast food restaurants. Like like when you go around, you have to name different fast food restaurants.
Were you guys playing King's Cup?
Maybe.
There you go.
I didn't want you guys to think I was drinking again. So.
Brent is playing King's. Hey, last time I played King's Cup was like a sophomore year of high school.
All
But
right,
go
well,
ahead,
cool.
keep going.
We were playing
And
that.
I was playing with water, Brent. Not
for fast food.
Water.
I said Applebee's. That did not go over well.
So, you gotta have a drive-through.
Okay.
Got it right. Fast food, you have a drive-through.
Fast food is not Applebee's.
No.
See, I said
Eating
because
good
they
in the
have it to
neighborhood?
go,
Come on,
like
man.
they have a to go area.
They do.
And then they were like, "Well, that doesn't
But
count now
everybody
because
has to go.
everybody has it."
Yeah.
But
I mean, you can get to go from my house now.
Yeah.
That's true.
First of all, don't ever knock Applebee's because in
Oh,
Murray
no, it
State,
wasn't
where
a
it was
knock.
a dry county, that's
I
where
like
you went.
Applebee's.
It's all right.
Oh, it wasn't a knock.
Yeah.
The 2-for-1 beers
I was
and
gonna
stuff
say,
like that.
and
like-
half-price
Half
appetizers late at
abs and
night.
taps. Let's go, Brent. Let's get it, man.
I mean, when you get off work,
yeah.
when you do
Hey,
work,
Applebee's,
there
cut
you go.
the check. Yeah, cut the check.
I mean, we should be part of the mural inside the Applebee's, shouldn't we?
Part of the
Local sports.
Part of the hometown feel.
Shouldn't we?
Let's put our cutouts in there.
Listen, that's right.
Hey, we'll take care of it ourselves. Put the cutouts
My
in there.
parents said, you made it when you're on the side of a bus. What about inside Applebee's?
You know you're a hometown hero if you're in an Applebee's.
We'll put
Enough
the
said.
cutouts there.
I like that, man. Let's get it. We're a big part of the community, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't want to sound egotistical or anything, but yeah.
Self-branding. And wait till we join TikTok.
Now we're talking.
All right, I never got to the all-in team that you should root against, but I think is all-in, and it's starting to look like they've made some miscalculations by being all-in.
Okay.
Plus, we have some training camp predictions for the Jacksonville Jaguars and other teams.
Yep.
Catch you up to speed on that next. Action Sports Jacks on ESPN690.
You don't want just any old sale. You want the biggest sale with the biggest savings ever, right? Then you need to see my friends at Arlington Toyota today because they're having the one big-time sales event. Want low payments and zero down? Then get to Arlington now because during the big-time sale, they have over 100 quality pre-owned cars you can buy at zero down and $199 a month. That's no money down and $199 a month for over 100 pre-owned vehicles. How about choosing from 50 quality pre-owned trucks and SUVs that you can buy at zero down and just $269 a month? That's no money down and $269 a month with over 50 pre-owned trucks and SUVs. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everybody approved. You even get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy for total peace of mind. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. What are you waiting for? It's the one big-time sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/big-time-sale for full details.
Deep into the summer months in Northeast Florida, hotter weather means your family should be drinking more water, more clean water. With a Kinetico system from CGC Water, they remove up to 99% of contaminants. That's clean water. CGC Water is offering a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier softener. Connecticut Premier softeners are non-electric and have twin tanks, making them super efficient, saving you money. Schedule your free water test today. Get peace of mind knowing your family's water is safe water. CGC is taking extra precautions with in-home visits following CDC guidelines, including no contact sales and service appointments, with all employees wearing masks and gloves at all times, and employee temperature checks every morning before they send out their team into your home. Remember, a free A200 reverse osmosis drinking water system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier softener. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. CGC Water Treatment, your local independent Connecticut dealer.
Slip and falls can be embarrassing, leaving you in pain and feeling like you've lost control. I'm Eli Anajar from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. After a fall, document the scene by taking photographs and make sure to get medical attention for any injuries you may have. If you've been injured in a slip and fall accident, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation. And take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
They're breaking all the rules at Diamonds Direct with an unprecedented store-wide sale going on now. Save 20% and more on an expanded selection. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, including trunk loads of all new designer pieces flown in from around the world. But hurry, this first time ever 11-day sale ends this Sunday. In-store, online, and virtual. All options open. All merchandise included. Even thousands of engagement rings on sale. An extraordinary sale for an extraordinary time. 20% savings now through Sunday only. Only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
Mortgage rates are at historic all-time lows. There's no better time. Duval! Purchase your first home or refinance with Crossview Mortgage. At Crossview, they have a proven track record with VA loans and helping people even when the big banks can't. Get pre-qualified. Do your application by phone in minutes. Let them help you save thousands. Call Crossview Mortgage, 325-9008. That's 325-9008. CrossviewMortgage.com. NMLS number 1377291.
Before we can move forward, we have to get ready to start moving again. Movement is how we express ourselves. No matter if it's on the hardwood, the track, or the highway, movement drives our potential, and it helps us build momentum for tomorrow. Movement takes us further than we ever thought possible. It's what separates us in competition, and it's what unites us when we need it most. So when you're ready to start moving forward again, we'll make sure you're ready for every mile. Goodyear, more driven.
If you're driving less, you could be saving more. With pay-per-mile car insurance from Allstate, you can have control over your auto insurance costs by only paying for the miles you drive. Pay-per-mile car insurance comes with the same reliable coverage you've come to expect from Allstate, but is designed for people who aren't on the road as much. Drive less, save more with Allstate. Visit allstate.com or call an agent for a quote.
Price based on driving behaviors and includes daily rates subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and its affiliates.
Security experts recommend that if you have a do-it-yourself alarm, don't use their alarm signs or stickers. Why? Because it tells crooks exactly which system you have, and some signals can be jammed with a common garage door opener. Yes, the equipment is built that cheap. It's not been tested by UL Laboratories, and the DIY company selling it has no license. They use a third party. It just doesn't measure up. That's why thousands of business owners and families trust SafeTouch Security. All SafeTouch systems are custom designed for each installation and installed by state-certified technicians and are covered by a lifetime warranty. The SafeTouch two-way communicator provides the fastest possible response time with an 8-second average. All monitoring is done from the SafeTouch 24-hour monitoring center, giving you peace of mind for you and your family. SafeTouch Security has been protecting you and your family like no one else for 35 years. Go to safetouch.com today for a free home consultation. State license number EF0000233.
Say hello to your new secret advertising weapon, your own branded mobile phone number. StarStar Mobile provisions vanity mobile numbers prefixed by ***, providing audiences an easy way to reach your business. Give it a try now by dialing *** Mobile from your mobile phone. That's *** Mobile. When prospective customers see your offline or online ad and they dial your branded *** Mobile number, *** Mobile helps to convert them through text, voice, and online communications. Give it a try now by dialing *** Mobile from your mobile phone. That's *** Mobile.
Broadcasting live from the ESPN 690 Anajar and Levine studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Christine Lisi. Major League Baseball has postponed all of the Marlins games through Sunday after the team's recent coronavirus outbreak. The Orioles, who were slated to host the Marlins in a 2-game set starting tomorrow, instead will host the Yankees tomorrow and Thursday. This week's Yankees-Phillies home-and-home series postponed. The Phils return to action Friday. After a majority of Nationals players voted not to travel to Miami for this weekend series, those games have also been postponed. One of the problems, in addition to players ignoring protocol, is that big leaguers can't be trusted to make the best decisions, believes ESPN's Alden Gonzalez.
When you're talking about a public health crisis, those sensibilities don't apply here. Major League Baseball, at the very least, and at most, a third party is going to have to intervene in these matters, because if not, this is going to continue to spiderweb. This season is going to be compromised, and even worse, the pandemic in this country is going to get even worse.
Alden on the ESPN Daily Podcast. Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes joining the ownership group of the Kansas City Royals. The Chiefs QB, son of former big league pitcher Pat Mahomes, once was a baseball prospect.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, a Cox Media Group station. Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jags.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jags on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
To be honest with you, I think we're all trying to learn and as we go, and this is a new normal for us, and we're just trying to take in as much information and make as good of educated decisions that we can make, and obviously putting our every employee and our players' health as paramount, and making sure that this is a safe environment, and making sure that our building is as pristine and as clean as possible for these guys to come and work, and where they're not at any additional risk.
That's Dave Caldwell on the Brian Kilmeade Show, 104.5 WOKV earlier today, and saying all the right things about the protocols that are in place, and they're going to give this thing a go. Signed off on by the NFL, of course, and looks like they're on their way. I have one question for Dave Caldwell. 6th-round conditional pick for Adam Shaheen out of Ashland University? Why not?
What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? A 6th-round pick? Pocket change, Brent. Take a chance on the guy. What do you got to lose? It's crazy. Crazy.
I mean, wouldn't you have given up one of those 12 picks this year for that?
In a heartbeat. No.
They got Tyler Davis.
Sure.
Out of Georgia Tech.
Yep.
In the later rounds. I think it might have been in the 6th round, actually. Listen, I'm not saying Adam Shaheen. I have a bias. It's from my alma mater, and not too many are.
Yeah. But I have a bias, too. He's a 2nd-round pick.
2nd-round pick who things haven't gone right in Chicago. He obviously hasn't played great, but in a situation where the Jags could use some tight end help and depth, and almost like the more you have, take a flyer on. You can't count on even Eifert, your big acquisition. I mean, is he going to stay healthy? Yeah. O'Shaughnessy hasn't been able to stay healthy. Oliver didn't stay healthy in year 1. It's almost like you can't have too many. Now, Chicago had seriously 10 of them at one time. But I was like, man, of course, again, I come at you here with definitely some bias. That would have been the 2nd Ashland University guy.
Yeah.
To play in Jacksonville, Jarris Pendleton, who we see over at the Senior
That's
Bowl.
right. Yeah.
Who's now working with the Indianapolis Colts.
Yep.
Was drafted in the 7th round. And that didn't really work out either, although he did play a few years in the league. Played with the Colts for a couple more years after the Jags.
Yeah. Well, and listen, we were talking about this during one of the breaks, too, as well. When you talk about, the Bears situation right now and their GM and Ryan Pace, and you look at his laundry list of players that he kind of missed on, whether it's Kevin White from West Virginia, who I don't think he's even in the league anymore. I really have no idea. Whether it's Leonard Floyd, Mitch Trubisky, now Shaheen, in the 2nd round. Ryan Pace, man, has got to be skating on thin ice. And keep in mind, first transaction ever was cutting me. So went downhill
Was that
from
his
there.
first one?
I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah,
Was it
yeah.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, listen, it's not like, hey, look what the Jags have done and Chicago's not. That's not what we're coming from here. Obviously, Caldwell and the front office here has its critics and has a resume that deserves some critics. But what they've done in Chicago is really questionable, and I think a lot of people want to pace out, and he will be out after this year. I think it will be a clean house situation if it doesn't go right. They added Foles to the fray, but you're right. I mean, he's made a lot of bad decisions, and that draft is a great example, one, as you were saying. So speaking of decisions, the team that everybody loves to hate here in Jacksonville would be, I give you three options.
I can name it one option. Well, I'd say Tennessee Titans, you love to hate them.
Yes.
But in terms of another team, you have to look to Jalen Ramsey.
Yes.
Where's Jalen Ramsey at?
Good job.
LA Rams. I got you, man.
Yeah,
we're on the
baby.
same page. We're a team. Come on.
So I'm thinking of this the other day. They have obviously gone all in. They gave away all that draft capital.
Absolutely.
They traded more draft capital, during that whole stretch anyway. They've got some really good players, but they also gave a huge contract to Jared Goff. Huge. And again, I mean, it's one of those things about the NFL. Sometimes you have to do it. He brings you to the Super Bowl, but you also have to make tough decisions. They gave him a ton of money, so they're married to it, and I'm not sure they're going to get the play they gave him the dollars for.
You don't feel as good as paying Aaron Donald all that money because obviously with Aaron Donald, you know what you're getting there.
Absolutely.
Jared Goff, it's like,
Donald, they had to do.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
And they've got some players now. I mean, I like the draft with Cam Akers. I like what I think he's going to be good. Cooper Kupp's a good player. Robert Woods has had some success there, so very good. And then they have players. I mean, Jalen's obviously a very good player, and so is Aaron Donald, and they've got some players. But if you now look at where Seattle's going, where San Francisco is and went last year, where the Rams were a few years ago, and even to a degree where Arizona, at least a lot of people think, and I'm not on that train as much as other people are. But
where Arizona hopes to be.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people are high on Arizona. Oof. The Rams now are in a delicate spot. Because if some of these if this doesn't start to work in a hurry, well, some of the things they did to mortgage part of the future and some of the big contracts, really the Jared Goff one, and they're going to give Ramsey a huge one. They have to after all the capital they gave.
Yeah.
That could blow up in a hurry because you're not going to be terrible most likely. You have too many decent players.
Yeah.
But you could in that division and in that side of the league in the NFC be stuck in mediocrity for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is an extreme. Well, first of all, if you're a Jaguars fan, you're obviously rooting against the Rams because the worse they do, the better draft pick you get.
One more
for
year
Jalen
of that.
Ramsey. Yep,
Yeah.
so you got one more year of that. So obviously, you're cheering for the Rams to lose as many games as possible. To me, it's interesting because you mentioned, obviously, I think even the key cog and everything, that's Jared Goff, right? Where Jared Goff, in my opinion, is the ultimate system guy. Now, don't get it wrong. That year they went to the Super Bowl, it was a fantastic system, okay? That system got him paid a pretty hefty paycheck. So props to him for doing that. But the problem if you're just a system guy is once that system gets figured out and you play within the confines of that system and you don't necessarily have the skills to play outside of it and be a quarterback, well, now you're in trouble. And that's where I think the Rams are right now in terms of how they're going to do this year. Keep in mind, they've lost Brandon Cooks. This isn't going to be the Rams from a couple years ago. I think you're going to see a little more reserved, a little more, run the ball here, pass your tight ends here. Like, I think, honestly, the high-powered Rams offense, it's of yesteryear. And it's crazy that we're saying that, Brent, only after 2 seasons. But to me right now, it's what is the identity of the Los Angeles Rams? Okay, because I get it. You brought Jalen Ramsey in to try to beef up that defense a little bit. And yes, you have probably the best defensive tackle, if not the best defensive player in all of football, in Aaron Donald. So I like that. But you think you've lost Clay Matthews. You lost Dante Fowler. You lost a lot of pieces off that defense, right? And you look at the offense, you lost a big guy in Brandon Cooks when he's healthy, obviously a pretty viable weapon. And now you have guys like Cooper Kupp, who is good. Josh Reynolds, still there. But to me, you don't really have the identity. The identity is what Sean McVay can bring to the table. It's not anything that those teammates can bring. It's Sean McVay. And if we've been proven in the past, it's that teams are getting hip to Sean McVay. So to me, this is an important year for the Rams from Sean McVay's perspective.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's more from the GM perspective. They're not going to give up on McVay. And I think you go to the GM perspective and be like, man, they took some chances here. They tried to roll the dice, and it looks like it could backfire. I mean, you mentioned, obviously, Jalen and Donald are two of the best in the league at their positions. But the rest of the secondary, does it do anything for you? I mean, Josh Johnson III, Taylor Rapp, and Troy Hill?
No.
Should I know those guys are way better than their names read?
No, I think we're on the same boat.
Are there some
here.
diamonds in the rough back there that I'm not like?
I think we're on the same boat here, Brent.
So Jalen.
Well, and then let's look at your pass rushers real quick. You go away from Fowler. You go away from Clay Matthews. Now, keep in mind, like they both had great seasons last year. But is it the Aaron Donald effect, right?
True. And Matthews, I mean, how old is Matthews now? I mean, that was probably, you were lucky to get that year out of him is my point.
Without a doubt.
I don't, there are a lot of people that would have moved on from Matthews probably going into this stage of his career.
Yeah, and once again, it could be the Aaron Donald effect.
And
where
Dante's risky.
He's risky, but then you replace those guys essentially with Leonard Floyd from Chicago, who I just talked about, who obviously the Bears let go, who's been kind of a bust for them. And then you have a guy like Terrell Lewis, who's a rookie. So, obviously, it's going to rely more on their offense. Again, I at least think. Look, I understand you have maybe one of the best corners in the game and the best defensive lineman in the game, so you can say, well, look at us, man. We're ready to roll. But to me, two guys on defense just isn't enough. You need to have the whole camaraderie, and right now, I don't see it on their defense.
Yeah, it was interesting. I just was thinking about them, and I was thinking about them more in the context of Seattle. Like, Seattle goes and gets Jamal Adams. Seattle obviously has Russell Wilson, one of the preeminent quarterbacks in the NFL. The San Francisco 49ers have a roster. I don't know if I'm sold on Jimmy G, but their roster, their coach, they're in line. They're in sync right now. And to the, I think to their defense, or at least this needs to be pointed out, San Francisco is much in line like the Rams looked like they were in line when they went to the Super Bowl. Things can change in a hurry.
True.
So I don't want to give the San Francisco 49ers too much credit. You can fall from the graces very quickly in the NFL, which is, I think, what kind of the Rams are doing. And again, I'm not going to leave Arizona out of it. I don't think Arizona is that much of a threat to the Rams. But if you look at what Seattle's doing, and just the way they've done it versus kind of the way the Rams have tried to build their thing and what they've spent money on and the draft capital, it just seems like they've pushed so many chips in. And I look at their roster, and then I look at what else the division's doing. I'm like, well, they're like the third team in the division. Like, if you do all that over the last couple of years, I shouldn't say you're like the third team in the division.
See, and this is the thing, Brent. We talk about Jamal Adams. Obviously, Jamal Adams is probably the best safety in football. And even with Jamal Adams right now, if he didn't go to Seattle, we'd be talking about, what do you think? Seattle? Probably going to the playoffs, right? They're probably going to make a run in the playoffs a little bit because they have the roster to do so. They're maybe a couple pieces away from going to the Super Bowl. Jamal Adams could very well be that piece. Last year, when the Rams got Jalen Ramsey, where were the Rams at? No one was talking about the Rams last year. Well, they're this close to going to even the playoffs. No. But you still spent 2 first-round picks on Jalen Ramsey because you thought Jalen Ramsey was going to be the guy that puts you over the top. Now, maybe, their defense got a little better and everything, but to me, you were blinded by the fact that if you thought Jalen Ramsey was going to come in and turn your entire team around and turn the entire culture around and take you to the playoffs and take you on a playoff run, absolutely not. So to me, you got that last cog in Jalen Ramsey, but the machine's not even close to being built yet.
No, and not only that, when they finish obviously 12th in the league or whatever, because the Jags ended up with that 20th pick, they had a better roster last year. On paper, in my opinion.
On paper. Now, remember,
on defense especially.
And Todd Gurley had his injuries, things like that. But on paper for sure.
Here's two interesting notes about the Rams as we're kind of like, what are we, in L.A. here? But I just think they're an interesting. I think it's an interesting story. One, because everyone around here wants to see the Rams do terrible because of the Ramsey trade. But also, I just think that the Seattle move puts it in perspective a little bit more. I just got to think, I was like, where are the Rams at? You talk about throwing your chips in, man. You got to be really careful, and you better be right.
Yeah.
Chicago's a little bit like that, too.
Yeah.
You know, as we talk Chicago, some of the moves they've made are mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in hindsight, Trubisky, everything they did to do that, to move up one spot. Now you bring Foles into the fold.
Yeah.
The decisions for Kevin White, the decision for Leonard Floyd, even in a second round you haven't hit on the second rounder Adam Shaheen and those kind of picks.
But also, Brent,
are you going to pay Allen Robinson?
True. But keep in mind, though, the whole Khalil Mack thing, right? We're talking about 2 first-rounders getting given up to get Khalil Mack. Remember when Khalil Mack first came in the Chicago Bears? He turned that whole team around. And now we're talking about a playoff team. So at that moment, and I'm saying that we are a far cry away from that Bears team when they first went after Khalil Mack and they're a playoff contender. Now they're, maybe the bottom of the barrel. We'll see. But I'm saying even back then, there was a feeling that, the Chicago Bears, they're maybe 1 or 2 players away from doing something special. And what do? They go after Khalil Mack, they bring him in, and the rest is history that season. Same thing with the Rams, though. The Rams, to me, weren't going to the playoffs last year regardless. Like, they were on the fringe of it, but they weren't, you could have gone either way. And you spent so much on Jalen Ramsey for what?
Here's going to be a great study then, okay?
Yeah.
Because now that you're talking, this comes to mind. If we look at the last couple of seasons, and I know there are more examples of this, but there might not be that many more examples. Let's look at the last few seasons and the blockbuster trades. Yeah. Khalil Mack got all that in return.
Sure.
Chicago sent it away. Well, look at Chicago right now. Where are they?
Good point.
They're kind of in a messy situation.
Yeah.
The Rams go get Jalen Ramsey. They give all this away. And again, it's not the only move, but where are they? They're kind of in an odd situation. They look a little messy, and you wonder which way they're going on the yo-yo.
Sure.
Keep an eye on 2 other teams. Houston gave a ton away to get Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah.
They paid him a bunch of money. Let's see if it works for him. And now they've done a lot of other moves on top of that.
Oh, yeah.
Clowney gone, Hopkins gone. Mm-hmm. So there's obviously been other moves that will factor into it. But where are the Texans? I predict, actually, when we did our AFC South, I think they're going to be a mess this year.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think this will be it for Bill O'Brien. It's just a prediction. We'll see if it comes true. Now keep an eye on Seattle. Now, they might be bulletproof from this because they have Russell Wilson. But I gave you a couple of guys that Chicago believed in Trubisky. The Rams believed in Goff. Mm-hmm. And obviously Houston believes in Watson. Mm-hmm. And they might be better equipped than those 2 other teams. That certainly looks so. Can Wilson save all that? Or will one of these kind of moves where they give up that kind of draft capital put Seattle a year from now or 2 years from now in a similar situation as the Rams, the Bears, and possibly even the Texans?
So here's where we're sitting right now. Khalil Mack is still one hell of a football player.
Absolutely.
Okay? And I would take him on my team 7 days a week and twice on Sundays. Like, I think he's still that great. And obviously you saw that when he first went to Chicago. Now, it's not his fault that Leonard Floyd didn't live up to the hype, and he was getting double-teamed and sometimes triple-teamed if you watch that Packer game Monday night. It's not his fault that Ryan Pace chose to go after Mitchell Trubisky instead of getting a guy like Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes, okay? So to me, Khalil Mack is still playing at a very, very his level. Now, his sack numbers were down a little bit, but just turn on the film. The guy is still as dominant as they come. Jalen Ramsey is still a dominant corner. Regardless of how you feel about him personally, he's still one of the best corners in the league. Now, I'm not sure how the Rams are going to do, but 9 times out of 10, I'm going to say, you know what? I think Jalen Ramsey is going to have another Pro Bowl year this up-and-coming season. My point that I'm trying to make right now is we don't know about Jared Goff. We got a great feeling about Mitch Trubisky saying he's probably not going to be the guy. We'll see with Nick Foles. But at least with Jamal Adams, here's what I do know. You have Russell Wilson, okay? And he's coming into the prime of his career right now. And I think going forward, they're asking Russell Wilson to do a lot more. It's not just a running game anymore. Now it's starting to be a pass-oriented team. Yeah, DK, Metcalf, all the weapons as well. So in my opinion, you're going to have that to fall back on. Now your defense, you're missing some key pieces. It's not necessarily the Legion of Boom in terms of your defensive line and everything, but to me, you have the pieces to be successful. And this is the major point. You can go ahead and bring these big-time draft, these big-time free agents in, these all-pro type caliber players, but you have to have the team to cultivate it around them. And I think the Seahawks, more than the Bears, obviously, more than the Texans, obviously, and more than the Rams right now, obviously, have that to cultivate Jamal Adams.
It'll be, and I would tend to agree with you. I just want to see where it ends up.
Sure.
Talking about these blockbuster, giving up a lot of draft capital. Yep. Where does it land you a year or 2 down the road? Mm-hmm. it looks like for Chicago and the Rams, it's not in a great place, or at least a good enough place to validate what you did.
Sure.
We'll see about Houston and Seattle. One other note about the Rams, which I think is a little bit interesting. Ja'Kai Polite, former Gator, rookie guy for the Rams.
Yeah.
Could be good.
Yeah.
It could be a nice find where they got him in the middle rounds, I believe it was, in the draft. Also, one of my favorite stories from around here, from Wall Street back to the NFL, Johnny Wolford from Bishop Kenny High School.
Yeah.
Remember now, him and Blake were the backups last year. Well, Blake was on a one-year deal. Bortles still isn't signed by anybody, and Wolford has beaten him out and said, we're keeping you, Johnny.
Yeah.
So Johnny has established himself as a backup quarterback with McVay for the Rams and backing up a guy that some people are lukewarm on, even though they've given him a ton of money. So great to see the story of John Wolford, undersized from a height perspective, but gets the job done everywhere he's been. Josh Love and Bryce Perkins also in the quarterback room for the Rams. What is interesting is they got Cam Akers. They also have the Darrell Henderson Jr. kid in the running back room, and I think Akers is going to be good. I think they got a steal there.
I think by week 6 or 7, he's probably going to be the starter. Honestly, Cam Akers.
Well, yeah,
starter.
He might start out
Malcolm
the starter.
Brown,
Malcolm Brown, John
Malcolm
Kelly,
Brown.
Darrell Henderson Jr. That's what they've got.
Yeah, I mean,
Malcolm Brown's a veteran.
Yeah, I think they probably start him at starter, but obviously, I mean, with Cam Akers, you can't deny the explosiveness and I think the versatility in that Sean McVay offense.
And Henderson's kind of an interesting back, a little bit project gamble. We'll see where it fits if it works out for them. So that's the LA Rams. Did not anticipate that. We won't go 20 minutes on every team in the NFL. But
breaking down the NFC West this week, yeah, let's get it.
All that Kyler Murray talk has got me living in the West at Kingsbury's outside fireplace.
For sure, man, living it up.
I'll tell you what, though, they are it's not only maybe the best division in football.
Yeah.
It's really the most intriguing from a personality-driven standpoint on the coaches. Pete Carroll has always been one of the great personalities in the game. At 69 years old, he looks like he's 45, and he's running all over the sideline.
Yep, chewing that gum, smacking it.
Kingsbury's supposed to be the next great thing. Outside fireplace, fantastic house. The Bachelor of Bachelors probably.
Fitness magazine cover probably coming out pretty soon for the summer.
I don't think he's married. Is he married?
I doubt it.
I doubt it.
You see that house? Doubt it. Doubt it.
And then McVay, just a year and a half ago, was billed as the next genius of the NFL.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, maybe the next genius of the NFL resides in San Francisco in that division with Kyle Shanahan. While McVay got a ton of offensive credit, Shanahan might be a better mind.
For sure. Oh, without a doubt. It's quite the scene right now.
It's an incredible division.
It's an incredible division. And here's the crazy things, because I get it, man. And you know how I feel about Kyler Murray. I think he's going to have a great year. I think the Cardinals are going to be great. But listen, it's not out of the realm of possibility to think, can the Arizona Cardinals beat any of these guys in the division? I mean, the Seahawks have to be one of the favorites to go to the playoffs, win the division. Obviously, what the 49ers can do. Rams, we'll kind of see what they got to bring to the table. But, keep in mind, the Cardinals, it wasn't a good season last year. Now, they added a lot of pieces and things like that. But are we getting a little too, over-optimistic right now in a very tough division, a la what we did last year with the Cleveland Browns in that AFC North?
Yeah, careful who you say we, because one guy is not.
Sorry. Well, okay, you're right. You weren't buying in the Browns last year.
Oh, I know.
I remember
I'm
that.
not buying into the Cardinals.
I got you, too. I got you. Yeah. But I think even last year, you said the Browns, you weren't.
No, you're right. I wasn't as high.
I remember that.
This year, I think they had to. I think they are such the equivalent of the Jags 16-17. Okay. People started to buy the Jags a bit in 16, a little bit. If you got to really go back and remember. But I think they started to be like, hey, look out. Maybe not to the degree they did with Cleveland, because Cleveland had Odell Beckham and those kind of names.
Yep.
Instead, the Jags had some young talent that was surfacing and bubbling. Well, they were miserable. They failed. It wasn't good. Gus Bradley fired all the rest. The Browns, I don't know if miserable is a word, but they certainly didn't live up to the hype and all the Monday nights and Thursday nights and everything else they were on.
Yeah.
The next year, the Jags added a piece or two, and that's when they did their thing in 17.
Yep.
I feel like Cleveland could be that this year.
Okay.
People say it arrives and you got to wait an extra year for it to arrive. And in much part, I believe the Browns and the Jags are alike in this sense. They have experienced losing so much that it's hard to anticipate them winning when everybody wants them to win or says they're good enough to win. And that was that's why I think they were comparable. 16-17 Jags, 19-20 Browns. Don't be surprised if the Browns really do pour it on this year.
Yeah.
And it's okay, now we don't want to do that again what we did last. We failed miserably. We're better than that. We got Garrett. We got Mayfield's in a huge year for him. We got Beckham. They're trying to get rid of Njoku, but they got Hooper. Right? Hooper. They go make that kind of move. Yep. Does it put them over the top, much like the Boye and Calais kind of moves of 17 for the Jags?
And they have one of the best running back tandems in the entire NFL. You got Nick Chubb toting the rock. I think he led the league in rushing last year, if not top 3. And then you have Kareem Hunt, 2 out of the backfield. So, yeah, I mean, as far as it looks on paper, it looks fantastic. I guess the question remains, can Baker Mayfield pull that Blake Bortles year? You know, can he kind of play above his capabilities? Because let's be honest, Baker Mayfield the past couple seasons, we've seen glimpses, but we haven't seen that first overall pick, right? So to me, it falls on him.
Yeah, it absolutely does. He had, like I said earlier, the 78 rating last year, which was just not good. Yeah. That was bad. Hey, want to remind you about the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. We got the golf tournament coming up in about 6 weeks. It's going to be a limited field, so make sure you jump in. You go to actionsportsjaxdream18.com. That's it. actionsportsjaxdream18.com. Love to have you out there. We've got the tee gifts all lined up, ready to roll. Kind of going to do a beach theme to it this year. So we're going to have fun with it. But I want to remind folks it's at the golf club at Southampton, and the field could be limited. We're not just sure yet how many people we can have, but it won't be as many as normal. So get on actionsportsjaxdream18.com. Sign up, be a part of it, whether it's with a tee sign for $100 or your foursome for $400, and very reasonable at the golf club at Southampton, and help out St. Michael Soldiers in their 10th year in the North Florida Junior Golf Foundation. We've now raised over $120,000 in the life of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18, and we're going to do it again thanks to our great sponsors, Cadillac, the law offices of Ron Scholes, Best Bet on board again. We appreciate all of them. That'll be September 14th in the morning, golf club at Southampton. And make sure you go to actionsportsjaxdream18.com to register. We'll put a bow on the show, give you an update on what's going on, not only with the Jags, but also with Major League Baseball.
Do you want to go over some bold training camp predictions?
Bold training camp predictions.
In the bold
I like
city?
It.
Let's get it, man.
We'll do that as well next on ESPN690.
Action Sports Jax with Brent Martineau on ESPN 690 is brought to you by Best Bet Jacksonville and Orange Park.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Scattered evening showers and storms will be heavy in spots, clearing later tonight and in the low to mid-70s. More afternoon showers and thunderstorms tomorrow. From the First Alert Weather Center, I'm Action News Jax Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beards Diamonds, where for a limited time, you can get 5 years, 0 interest financing. Thinking of a new ride? Waiting for a sale? Well, if I got great news for you, because this isn't just any sale. No. This is big. It's the Big One sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota. During the Big One sales event at Arlington, you can get 0% for 60 months on 10 new Toyota models. That's 0% for 60 months on 10 new Toyota models. No one does the Big One deal like that. And at Arlington Toyota right now, they're giving you no payments until 2021 on your new Toyota purchase. That's right. You make 0 payments until 2021 on your new Toyota. And with every new vehicle purchased from Arlington, you get a lifetime warranty with unlimited time and miles. Plus, you can buy with total peace of mind thanks to Arlington's 30-day exchange policy. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. The Big One sale just keeps getting bigger, and it's happening right now at Arlington Toyota. Shop them in person safely at 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/Big One sale for full details.
WFOX Fox 30 has been removed from the service of Dish Network after the satellite provider refused to agree to a fair deal for a new retransmission consent agreement with Cox Media Group. If you're affected by this decision to deprive you of important local news and programming during these critical times, make your voice heard. Call Dish today at 1-800-333-3474. That's 1-800-333-3474 and demand that they put Fox 30 back on Dish.
Do you know a child who is deaf, hard of hearing, blind, or visually impaired? The Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine offers a tuition-free educational program to prepare the child for a lifetime of success. FSDB offers free comprehensive education, transportation, and boarding services at no cost to all eligible deaf or blind students, elementary through high school, no matter where the student lives in Florida. Call 800-344-3737 or log on to www.fsdbk12.org to learn more.
This message is brought to you by Community First Credit Union.
Stop for a minute. Relax. Jacksonville is going to be just fine. And while our physical health is everyone's greatest concern, it's important to think about your financial health as well. So if you have questions, we have answers. Answers that will help us all to a better, brighter future in Jacksonville.
To get started, text ANSWERS to 797979 or visit communityfirstfl.org to schedule an appointment. Federally insured by NCUA.
After a car accident, you can feel like you've lost control. I'm Mark Anajar from the law offices of Anajar and Levine. After the crash, call the police and document the scene by taking photos of all the vehicles involved. If you were injured, get medical attention as soon as possible. If you've been involved in a car accident, call the law offices of Anajar and Levine at 904-600-4000. That's 904-600-4000 for a free consultation. And take back control of your life.
Office in Jacksonville.
They're breaking all the rules at Diamonds Direct with an unprecedented store-wide sale going on now. Save 20% and more on an expanded selection. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, including trunk loads of all new designer pieces flown in from around the world. But hurry, this first time ever 11-day sale ends this Sunday. In-store, online, and virtual. All options open. All merchandise included. Even thousands of engagement rings on sale. An extraordinary sale for an extraordinary time. 20% savings now through Sunday only. Only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
What's up, everybody? It's Austin Lane from ESPN690 and Action Sports Jax. Your smart speaker brings ESPN690 into your home office. All you got to do is say Amazon Echo, Google Home, play ESPN690, and enjoy that succulent sports coverage.
The summer shower of savings continue.
Beards announces our most exciting offer ever.
Right now at Beards Diamonds, get 5 years, 0 interest, plus no money down on any purchase.
This is the best deal of the summer.
Take advantage of Beards' lowest prices in North Florida on diamonds, from engagement rings to necklaces. Then spread your payments out over 60 months. That's 5 years with no interest, not a dime.
How about a $6,000 Tacori or Veragio ring? You pay just $100 a month. Or a pair of diamond studs for $3,000? You pay just $50 a month.
But just like summer, these hot deals won't last long. Hurry to Beards Diamonds now.
Get her that designer setting she's been dreaming about and spread your payments out over 60 months.
Now's your time to get out of the doghouse and save thousands. 0 interest for 5 years.
Beards Diamonds, located at the St. John's Town Center.
Come in. See the difference. Save thousands.
I call them 3 shirt days. That's when the summer heat in Jacksonville just sizzles. It's relentless, and you want to be prepared for it. Bold City Heating and Air will help you do that. Nothing worse than sweating in your own home and wondering, hey, what happened to the AC? We've been there before. Your air conditioning unit needs to be ready for the heat. It might need to get serviced. The hot weather is here, and Bold City Heating and Air is here for you, just like they have been for my family the last couple of years. Right now, it's $25 off an annual maintenance. Bold City will thoroughly service, clean, and test your system to ensure it is working efficiently. Then you'll be comfortable this summer, all summer. After the $25 off, it's just $70. Book your maintenance service now and save. Save now, beat the heat. Visit boldcityac.com or call 904-379-1648 to schedule. Mirza and his staff are ready to take care of you and your family. Be bold and beat the heat and make it a one-shirt day, even in the summer heat. Go to boldcityac.com.
You don't want just any old sale. You want the biggest sale with the biggest savings ever, right? Then you need to see my friends at Arlington Toyota today, because they're having the one big-time sales event. Want low payments and 0 down? Then get to Arlington now, because during the big time sale, they have over 100 quality pre-owned cars you can buy at $0 down and $199 a month. That's no money down and $199 a month for over 100 pre-owned vehicles. How about choosing from 50 quality pre-owned trucks and SUVs that you can buy at $0 down and just $269 a month? That's no money down and $269 a month with over 50 pre-owned trucks and SUVs. Plus, with Arlington's Credit for Everyone program, if your Beacon score is from 450 to 850, Arlington's getting almost everybody approved. You even get Arlington's 30-day exchange policy for total peace of mind. That's 30 days to love it or exchange it. What are you waiting for? It's the one big-time sales event going on now at Arlington Toyota, 10939 Atlantic Boulevard, or online at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/big-time sale for full details.
Say hello to your new secret advertising weapon, your own branded mobile phone number. StarStar Mobile provisions vanity mobile numbers prefixed by ***, providing audiences an easy way to reach your business. Give it a try now by dialing *** Mobile from your mobile phone. That's *** Mobile. When prospective customers see your offline or online ad and they dial your branded *** Mobile number, *** Mobile helps to convert them through text, voice, and online communications. Give it a try now by dialing *** Mobile from your mobile phone. That's *** Mobile.
They're breaking all the rules at Diamonds Direct with an unprecedented store-wide sale going on now. Save 20% and more on an expanded selection. Rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, including trunk loads of all new designer pieces flown in from around the world. But hurry, this first time ever 11-day sale ends this Sunday. In-store, online, and virtual. All options open. All merchandise included. Even thousands of engagement rings on sale. An extraordinary sale for an extraordinary time. 20% savings now through Sunday only. Only at Diamonds Direct.
Off Town Center Parkway.
Hey everybody, it's Brent Martineau from Action Sports Jacks. There's a good chance you have a smart speaker, so use it with ESPN690. Stay up to date on the Jags and all things sports by telling Alexa or Google to play ESPN690. It's as easy as that. Make sure you listen weekdays 3 until 6 p.m. on ESPN690.
Brent Martineau.
You see him every day on CBS 47, Fox 30, Action Sports Jax.
Austin Lane.
He's a former Jag star and current MMA fighter.
Broadcasting live from the Anajar and Levine studio.
This is Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690 and ESPN690.com.
Are you asking players to stay in the same hotel during the week, or are you giving them total freedom?
They have the option to stay at a hotel, and we have rooms for the guys and most of the rookies that don't have places to stay are staying at a hotel, and the hotel is up to testing standards for the people that work there too. And then the veterans can stay at home. So we're just putting our faith into the players and hoping that they are socially responsible. There are some new stipulations with this, and that the league has asked with the coordination with the NFLPA for the players to not be in crowded spaces, not to go to indoor parties with more than 15 people, not to go to sporting events, not to go to bars and nightclubs and stuff like that. So there are some things that are agreed upon with the players that they have to scale back.
That is Jaguars GM Dave Caldwell earlier today on 104.5 WOKV, Brian Kilmeade show, and that's the thing we talked about yesterday. It's like you're rolling the dice with your team. How much do you trust your team? You have no choice. You have to trust your team. How bought in is your team? And do the Jags benefit from having a young football team? Is that good or bad? It can go two different ways.
Yep.
We'll see. Nobody knows that answer. Not even Dave Caldwell, not even Doug Marrone. They don't know. We'll see how it plays out for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hey, quick thanks to Cindy. Yesterday dropped off some more water from CGC Water. Official water of Action Sports Jacks on ESPN 690. Go check out our friends at CGC Water in Connecticut, cgcwater.com. You a little upset over there on these training camp predictions?
Don't want to sound like a hater right now, but I am a little I'm a little testy. I'm a little taken back right now at some of my peers, some of my colleagues of what some of their bold predictions are.
Yeah, every time you read one, and then you went, oh, you got one in particular.
There was the coup de grace of bold predictions that I didn't even see to start things off with. So a little background real quick. So ESPN, they released their bold predictions for each NFL team, right? So a beat writer from each team displayed their quote-unquote bold predictions for this up-and-coming season. Keep in mind, Brent, this is the bold city, right? This means something around here. The term bold, I take very personally. I want my socks to be knocked off. The RNC was supposed to come down here. They said, woo, See those numbers in Jacksonville right now, the hot spot? A little too bold for my liking. We can't handle the boldness, and we're out of here. We're not setting up shop anymore. Way too bold for our liking.
Only Tim McGraw can handle that kind of bold.
Only Tim McGraw can handle it, yes, sir. So imagine my surprise, Brent, when I'm going through these bold predictions, and we'll get to the Jaguars one in a second here. The Cleveland Browns. And you know, you get that feeling where you just can't shake a guy, Brent. You know, like there's just something that you just can't shake. Whether whether it's
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, Kyler Murray for you, exactly. Well, obviously, my Achilles heel, my sworn enemy, since we did Shock Your Mock all those months back, has been a guy by the name of Grant Delpit. Yeah. Check out the Cleveland Browns. Gee, I'm all set, thanks. Check out the Cleveland Browns bold prediction from a guy by the name of Jake Trotter. I'm going to send him some hate mail in a second here. Rookie safety Grant Delpit will win a starting job. That is the Cleveland Browns bold prediction.
And that, by the way, might be one of the boldest predictions of them all.
Yeah. I mean, listen, in terms of bold predictions, he went out on a limb. Good for him. Some of these, Brent, are just, I mean, for instance here, let's go to Washington. Oh, Dwayne Haskins will be the starter this year. Oh, I'm sorry. Was he a first-round pick last year? He probably should be, right? Let's go to New England. Check out this bold prediction coming from Mike Reese of
Tom Brady won't play.
The New England Patriots. Cam Newton wins the starting quarterback job. Ooh,
that's the bold prediction.
Putting your reputation on the line, Mark Rice. Oh, my man. What are some other good ones we have? I don't know who. Logan Wilson will be the starting linebacker in Cincinnati. Is that bold? I don't know. We'll take a word for it. The Pittsburgh Steelers will carry 5 running backs this year on their 53-man roster.
That'd be unusual.
Bold. Check out this one. AFC South, Houston Texans. They will sign Deshaun Watson to a contract extension before the start of the regular season.
I like that.
Your thoughts? You think so? I mean, it's a bold prediction after
It's a bold prediction. I don't know if I would agree with it. I think it's a bold prediction, yeah.
Check this one out from the Colts. Rookie Jonathan Taylor will end training camp in a dead heat for the starting running back job over Marlon Mack.
I like the bold prediction. I could see it happening.
Yep. And then Tennessee Titans. Receiver Corey Davis will emerge in training camp. Wow,
You
man.
didn't mind that one.
Well, I mean, that's bold. That's as bold as they come. Okay, those are hot spot numbered boldness right there.
What about the Jags? What did DeRocco say?
Well, let's go my boy D-Rock, man. And listen, in terms of boldness, we'll get to that in a second. But wide receiver D.D. Westbrook emerges as a number 2 behind DJ Chark. And here's the explanation. The Jaguars have been waiting on Westbrook to break through and hope he would come last year. But a shoulder injury lingered throughout the season. He played through it, but his numbers dropped slightly from 2018. He's healthy again and entering the final year of his rookie contract, which is always a motivator. And he'll surpass Chris Conley for the number 2 spot. Do you want to go first or should I?
Yeah, I'm not too sure that I'm not crazy on the bold part of it, though. Yeah. Conley being back and he had the big year last year, or bigger year than D.D. Westbrook. Man, I kind of hope D.D. does that in a contract year and with Gruden being able to move him around.
Yeah,
I would think. Yeah, I would say from a bold standpoint, I wouldn't be surprised if that happens at all.
Yeah,
but. We'll see, and it hasn't. Now, I know what Mike's doing here. He's basically putting a little faith in Dede to have a
as
big
it
year.
Seems like we all have the past 2 or 3 years now.
Yeah.
But see, here's
some people have given up on him.
Yeah, well, but here's where I'm coming from, right? So I don't want to say it's a bold prediction. I say it's more of a plain prediction, and here's my point. I want you to think deep in your mind right now of all your football knowledge. And I want you to picture the 2 wide receivers out there on every single NFL team. Now, you probably can't do it a lot. To me, a guy that sticks out is like a Calvin Ridley from the Atlanta Falcons. Pretty promising going forward. Last year, it could have been like a Stephon Diggs for the Minnesota Vikings, right? So we have a good idea of what a 2 receiver is. My issue right now with what DeRocco said is the fact that he counted Chris Conley as a 2 receiver. Now, yes, from a yardage standpoint, from a stat standpoint, he was probably the second best receiver on that team. I get that. But you don't take your second best receiver out in the red zone. Nobody does that, okay? So to me, Chris Conley, with all due respect to him, wasn't really his fault. I think it was more of John DeFilippo's play calling. But Conley was never the true 2 receiver because in the red zone, he was non-existent.
Yeah, which was a head scratcher. And by the way, I will say Conley in his career has been and came here as a 3 receiver.
Correct.
You know, that was part of the pitch was like, hey, we think he's maybe one of the best 3 receivers in the game.
Yeah.
He's like borderline 2 guy. Yep. And that was kind of why they brought him over. That's why Nick Foles wanted him over, from my understanding of it. So to your point, that's a good point. I mean, he's really been more of a 3 receiver, even if his numbers showed he emerged more as the second option.
Exactly.
Last year.
See, so to me, it's all about D.D. Westbrook is still the 2 guy going forward. I think the writing's on the wall here where he's going to be slated as a number 2 receiver. Now, what he does with that, we'll see. But I think right now, he's already the 2 receiver.
All right. So what would you say about the Jags?
Yeah.
From a bold prediction standpoint.
I got 3 of them, Brent.
3 bold predictions.
I have 3 farm fresh, organic, certified trade, fresh takes, fresh, bold predictions. Almost a little bit too ripe to even ingest right now.
Wow. I did sear a steak again last night. It was unbelievable. So you got me thinking of it.
Mouth watering right now.
I'm going to have seconds tonight.
Did you go with that New York strip? What'd you get?
It's just a top sirloin.
All right, not bad. Nothing wrong with top sirloin,
it's been
man.
working.
Do what you got to do,
Put
man.
a little a Key West seasoning on there.
Okay. I always use
don't even know what the heck's in it.
Don't know what that even means. Yeah, I always use like the Salt
Probably
Lick.
some herbs.
Yeah, I use the Salt Lick from Texas, in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
Salt Lick. I have some Salt Lick seasoning.
I might have to try it. I want to try some more
Chef's
of those.
kiss. Well, let me know. I'll give you some stuff.
All right.
All right, cool. So you ready
Give
for
me your 3 farm fresh.
Can your stomach
seared
handle 3
steak.
of them? Can your stomach handle 3 of them right now? It can just. All right, check this out. Training camp prediction number 1. The Jaguars are going to use and keep a fullback.
Okay.
I mean, is that bold? Is that not bold? Hey, don't worry. I got more.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Because tradition, actually, that is pretty bold. One,
Right.
they've got 1 on the roster.
Yep.
And 2, Gruden doesn't always feature that.
Yeah. Okay. This next one, you might want to stand up for this one, okay? And don't worry, those goosebumps are going to go away. Shaq Quarterman. Shaq Quarterman is going to be your starting strong side linebacker in training camp.
That's funny.
Did you really?
Said that. I thought
We're on the
about
same
that.
page, Brett. We're mind melting. I like it, man. Yes, sir. So here's what I think about this, right? We're not sure what the defense is going to look like this year. We're not sure if they're going to go more of a 3-4 or 4-3 look. Regardless of that, I'm going to expect that it's going to be more of last year's defense with a couple wrinkles mixed in. If you look at a strong side linebacker right now, it's a guy that obviously plays maybe 20 to 30% of the reps. Right now, I think you make an argument that probably Leon Jacobs would be the starting Sam or the starting strong side linebacker. I think Shaq Quarterman, obviously more of a Mike linebacker, but I think he has a tenacity. I think he plays with the smarts, number 1, but number 2, he's got that dog in him, right? And you want that dog, especially in the AFC South, when you got to stop the run, when you line up on the strong side. I think Shaq Quarterman has that dog and, more importantly, the size in order to do that. So I think Shaq Quarterman is going to be your strong side linebacker. Number 3. You ready for this one? Laviska Shenault squats over 550. Okay? And when you do that...
that's not the...
No.
I was like, why are you taking us to the weight room?
When we talk to Milo, he's going to report that Shenault is a strong guy. No. So check this out. So Laviska Shenault squats over 550. Okay? And when you squat over 550 and you play wide receiver, guess what you got? You got some ham hocks, all right? You got some legs, all right? You have a chassis. You have to have it. So with that being said, and I never went on his social media. I don't really know Laviska Shenault. Never watched an interview with him. Don't know his personality. Just going off of his squat numbers, I think that Laviska Shenault will rock a pair of shorter shorts than Gardner Minshew will in training camp.
Wow, that
Put
would
it
be
on
great.
the books right now. Bold prediction or locks of the year.
I don't know, but that could
You
really
be the
alter the
judge.
chemistry on the football team if it happens.
I'm just saying. Locks of the year. Don't even call them bold predictions. I'm calling them locks of the year right now, Brent. Shorter shorts than Gardner Minshew.
All right, I got 3. I'll go 3. I'll add
right.
one more in.
I like it.
My first one that I thought of is by Labor Day.
Okay.
So give a couple weeks of camp and all that stuff.
Yeah. Here comes that Labor Day prediction again.
Cam Robinson's play and the narrative coming out of there will be, we might want to keep this guy around a couple more years.
Are we talking a new contract?
Well, no, he won't get it.
Okay.
I'm just saying the narrative. No, you're not going to give it to him.
Okay, I'm like, dang,
But the narrative now is
Gotcha.
hanging on. Probably should have addressed it in the draft. Fair enough.
Yeah.
He's going to come in here and he's going to look good early.
I got you.
Is my Cam Robinson?
I'm with you right now. I'm at the farmer's market. I got my duffel bag, and I just put it in there. I like that. I like it, man.
All right, you ready for this one?
I don't know.
It's supposed to be bold.
Okay, let's get it.
Jan shows up at some point.
Shows up on the
camp.
On the field or just in the building?
Well, either way would be, I think, a win. Because
okay.
I think most people say the earliest he would show up.
Season.
Would be the week of the season.
Sure.
Right? Like the Sunday prior or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm going to say he shows up prior to that.
Dang. Okay, that's bold. That's as bold as they come right there.
That is probably as bold
that.
as you get.
I like that.
That's what they've been asked to do.
Yeah, exactly. That's your job right now.
In the meantime, one of the stars of the pass rushing group will be the rebirth of Aaron Lynch.
Okay.
Buried on the depth chart.
Coming from Chicago.
A Trent Baalke
Unknown
guy.
Yeah.
Brings them over.
Sure.
And we'll have a resurgence. And we'll be talking about Aaron Lynch as being part of this rotation.
Yeah.
Because they actually, with Jan, some lightning out there. With Jan, if you're not planning on Jan being here, they need somebody as a third wheel to emerge.
Absolutely.
Right? You've got Josh Allen. You've got Caleb on Chase on as a body now. He hasn't proven a dang thing other than that he can put together a pretty good branding video in his workouts.
Sure.
But Aaron Lynch could find himself in a rotational spot of some sort. Kind of the star of camp, one of the stars of camp on the defensive side.
Absolutely. And definitely a guy who's definitely undernoted right now, right? Because like when you get lost with the Chase-ons and the Josh Allens, you don't talk about the depth, and keep in mind, depth is so important in terms of especially edge rushing.
And maybe more important this year.
Absolutely. I like it.
I think there'll be more. I think that's a guy, people have gone to sleep on in one of the signings, but one of those subtle signings that could pay off for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So those are my three predictions.
I like it, man.
Bold
predictions, by the way.
And the boldest of all would probably be Jan showing up.
Absolutely.
That's about as far as out on a limb as you can go right now.
I like it. I respect it.
Anyway, those are both predictions.
Good stuff,
Take note,
man.
ESPN. Hire us.
Yeah, exactly, man. You want some boldness? Come holler at us. We got you.
See, what happens when you go with predictions is we get caught up, and I do this, on wanting to be right.
Sure.
Well, sometimes you got to let the hair down.
You're doing a great job of that right now. with that stuff, you got to talk
let it go, man.
You got to let it go.
And see what one of these underdog stories happens.
Sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit,
Sometimes you've got to see who will wear shorter jean shorts. Minshew, LaVisca Chenault, or Austin Lane today.
First of all, thank you. Second of all, I didn't say jean shorts. I said the practice shorts. Like on the field, first day of practice, we're on the field, Brent. If you're going to be there at that first practice, your job is to get me a screenshot of LaVisca Chenault standing next to Gardner Minshew. I want you to go, hey, guys, let's get a group picture together, huh? And I want you, Chenault, and then Gardner Minshew, have them stand next to each other and snap the picture. And once again,
6 feet apart, though.
Of course, 6 feet apart. Thank you very much. It was nicely put there. Once
Portrait
again,
mode.
I don't know who Chenault is as a person. Never talked to the guy. Don't know his style. Haven't really seen a lot of pictures of him. And I don't follow him on social media. But I just think, man, if you squat 550 pounds and you're a wide receiver, how could you not show off your ham hocks? You got to do it.
A couple of quick notes from the opt-out phase. Derek Funchess also.
Devin
Funchess.
You're good. Yeah.
Opting out for the Green Bay Packers.
That's
and
huge.
If you thought the draft was bad and picking a quarterback and Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers, well, now one of your really only two options are gone at wide receiver.
You know, like that Will Smith meme from The Fresh Prince where he's standing, dude, that's Aaron Rodgers right now. Can somebody come help that man on the offensive side of the ball?
Thank you for Devontae Adams still, at least.
For sure.
The other opt-outs, by the way, among them Hightower and Chung from New England. They have actually 6 players opting out. Eddie Goldman for the Chicago Bears. Pierce for the Minnesota Vikings, a big guy that nose tackle, signed a 3-year, $27 million deal. So those are some of the opt-outs. Major League Baseball, the big news, they're still playing games, but the Marlins are not. They won't play until next Monday. That National Series has also been canceled. Phillies will not play until the weekend. And since the Yankees and Phillies were supposed to play each other, and since the Orioles were supposed to play the Marlins, well, now the MLB has shifted the schedule, and it will be the Orioles and Yankees in the next couple of days. So they've made some adjustments to that schedule as it fits right now. And by the way, the Washington Nationals, who voted to say, hey, we don't want to go down to Miami, they are not going to play this weekend. So get some good BP in, because no playing for the Washington Nationals over the weekend as the MLB tries to figure this thing out. You know, we didn't get to this, but real quick thought ties the NFL and Major League Baseball. How about Patrick Mahomes, now part owner of the Kansas City Royals?
Man, well, listen, if you get paid $500 million, I'm pretty much tied to that city as well. I mean, if Omaha wants to give me $100 million, guess what, Omaha? I'm coming to you ASAP, and now I'm all over that city. I'm Team Omaha all day, so I get it.
Yeah, I do too.
You're kind of pot committed.
I brought this up earlier in the show, and we didn't get to it, so let's hang on to it for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But can you think of another? This is homework assignment, folks, for tomorrow.
I like it.
Can you think of another athlete that has, in such a short time, married himself to a city like now Mahomes has?
It's a good question.
With his play with the Chiefs organization, with the contract that will keep him there for over a decade, and now with the purchase of part of the baseball team in town.
I like it.
Anybody else come to mind? Think about it overnight. We'll do it again tomorrow at 3 o'clock right here on Action Sports Jax on ESPN 690. I'll see you on TV tonight, CBS 47 and Fox 30. Have a good night. It's rainy out there. Drive safe, everybody.
Escúchame y Zidane Levatación ESPN Radio.
I love Chris, and I want to support Chris in whatever he wants to do. And if he likes magic or he wants to talk about how today's the last today ever, that's something I'm going to support forever.